Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. I hope you had a good weekend. Were you awake bright and early this morning for the goodness that came through? I opened up those back doors of my house there, Tom, with the screen. Whole family was asleep. Unfortunately, I'm an insomniac, well established. I was up at 4:30. Don't know why. No idea why. But I was. Not bitching, not complaining. What are you going to do? So I decided to get up, get the coffee started, get the dogs situated. They wanted to go out. I think they sensed the storm was coming. They got outside. They did their thing. They came back inside. I'm like, all right, lay down, settle down. Some stuff's coming. Trees in the backyard are going nuts. I love a good storm. Love them. Love storms. I want it to pour. I want it to be dangerous, but not too dangerous. I want it to be right up on that line where I start to go, ooh, this is getting a little dangerous. And then it calms down. I like that. Always have.
It was kind of like that this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was probably
not quite as bad as
2.5 out of 5 stars for a severe thunderstorm, not, of course, big events.
I think it got to 3. But at my house, I have a lot of trees, Tom. So those suckers are bent and really,
The farther north you go, the worse it was. So you're in Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm back here in the capital city, so that's probably why.
So I went in the pitch darkness about 5 a.m. and set up my chair, got my coffee, and I have a covered deck there. And I said, all right, here we go. Let's get it on. So those trees blowing sideways and wind whipping through. And then as soon as the sprinkles hit, I was like, oh here we go. Got to get inside now. Walked inside, opened up the window. Unfortunately, woke my wife up because when we open up our windows, there's a security beep that goes off, and the whole house can hear it. I forgot about that. And it goes beep, 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 beep. It lets you know that a window's been opened, which is a good thing. By the way, that's a terrifying thing if you're ever laying in bed and you hear the beep, 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 because somebody's opening a window or something like that is happening, right? I had that happen one time. My oldest son thought it would be funny as he decided to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom to open up the back bathroom window while he peed because he wanted to look outside while he peed. I'm laying in bed, sound asleep. I hear beep, 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 beep at 3 o'clock in the morning. Son of a bitch, somebody's going to get killed. I mean, this is not good. I had to explain to him, this is what we don't do.
That's not what you do.
That's not what you do. It's dangerous. You could get yourself hurt. So anyhow, that happened this morning.
That's not what you do.
No. And my wife was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm awake. You go back to bed. You don't have to get up. But a storm's coming, and I wanted to hear it and see it. And she said, what? It's 5 a.m. What are you going to do? I said, I'm either going to read or play MLB The Show while I drink my coffee and listen to this storm. It's going to be great.
I had a moment of panic because we had to take the surge protector for something else. And my big Mac computer is plugged directly into the wall.
Yeah, and you're like, ooh.
And when I woke up, it was around like 7:15, and I checked the NWS because I saw it kept on getting pushed back into the actual sunlight morning hours instead of overnight. Like, on Saturday, it was like, that's going to hit you in the middle of the night. So I wake up at 7, and it says, oop, it's a half an hour away. I go, I need to pull the plug because we will be the one unlucky house in the neighborhood
that gets zapped.
And I really don't need a $2,000 Mac to go down right about now. I've got great credit from our friends at Best Buy, but I don't want to start using it right now, man.
No.
Let's get that thing out the wall, and let's make sure all our devices are safe.
Well, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I watched a little of the news, got caught up to start my day. I did play a game of MLB The Show while I listened to the storm while sipping on my cup of coffee. Then I began show prepping, had the house to myself. It was a glorious time. What a great way to start the week. Unfortunately, it's now 105 degrees outside and humid. Usually that ushers in nice weather. Instead, it's ushered in horrifically hot weather. I don't know what's going on. It goes from being really nice on Saturday to freaking like the dead of July. But you didn't tune into this program to hear me prattle about the weather. Just wanted you to know how I started my day. I'm wishing all of you a great day, a great evening at this point as we move rapidly towards it.
You know what appalled me the most over the weekend, just outside of the seriousness of our times? So I watched some of the old Masters and the 04, I think it was the 04 Phil Masters. Sergio Garcia had the clubhouse lead, and it wasn't a good one. It was just like you're going to sit on it for a couple hours.
Yeah.
He's 300 par. He shoots a 66 or a 65 on Sunday, great round. Dick Enberg is still doing the Butler Cabin interviews during the day. So it's Sergio Garcia and Dick Enberg.
I had forgotten about Dick Enberg doing those interviews.
And they bring Sergio in, and he looks just over it. He doesn't want to be there. And they're like, what a great round you had today. Take us through this one shot you hit on number 6. He goes, well, there are far more worthy shots than the one from my round today than you're showing here. I hit many more better than this, but I guess you have a time crunch.
Who said that?
Sergio, to Dick Enberg. He was crapping on the production team.
Oh.
He's like, I hit many more shots that are worthy than this particular one.
This is how Serge grew to be very, very unlikable.
And they showed one of his putts that he missed towards the end of the round to shoot a better number. And of course, here's a miss. I could see you included that in the footage. But overall, and then he starts to talk for a minute without stopping. And now they've cut back to the action because they're like, Sergio, shut the hell up. And they're waiting for an opening.
Man.
And yes, disrespecting Dick Enberg while he was still alive. No, sir. Not allowed. Sergio 1.0 was very hateable.
Yeah.
It was appalling.
There are a lot of things you forget about upon watching replays of these sports, and we're doing a lot of it now. Some things that were overshadowed, of course, by the actual victory for so-and-so or the great shot that was hit 2 days after that interview was done, right? And then by going back and watching that, you're like, oh, yeah, that's where that derives from. I knew I had great disdain for so-and-so, but that was born in that moment.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen that within some old baseball games that I was watching. I've seen that, obviously, with these replays of the Masters. There were also guys that I look back on now and I think, it's too hard on that guy. That was a really tough shot. I don't know why I thought he'd choke. He didn't choke. That's just a tough shot. Like, you have a greater appreciation for the moments now and how difficult it is to win. I think, and we'll talk about this at length later in the show. I think, well, later this hour if you want. I just think that the Tiger Woods comeback, getting to see that again yesterday, it made me emotional all over again. I mean, I didn't cry or anything, but I mean, it really is an incredible story. It is absolutely almost unimaginable. And you know what I did watch? I also watched Chambly and Rich Lerner and those guys go back, and David Duval and Nobilo go through their post round as it happened. Like this was, they replayed.
That's when the skies opened up and they were indoors.
Yeah,
and
they were
dumping
indoors
because that's why they had the morning Masters. Yeah,
that's right. Listening to them talk again, A, they did a good job, but B, they, I think they had the proper reverence. You could tell they knew what they just witnessed was as improbable as anything you'll see in sport.
It was their Jack in '86 moment for that, for that crew. They're like, we saw this before in '86. I mean, think about it.
But Chambly pointed out something I forgot, and he's right about this. And he said, in many ways, this was more impressive than Jack in '86. You heard him say that?
Yes.
Yeah, he was like, Jack was still in the top 30 at the time.
Right.
He was still an elite player.
Right, because the only parallel is Ben Hogan's car accident.
Right.
For what he came back from. And that didn't include social media and tabloid shame of like to a degree that we had never seen before.
It didn't exist, right.
But it's 33 years later, and they knew that we're not going to see anything quite like this in the rest of our lifetime, so we better cover the hell out of it today.
Yeah, they got it, though. They certainly did. They got it right. But it was interesting, too. I also thought the observation that when Molinari yanked his drive on 5, I think it was. Is that right?
It may have been.
Might have been.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I mean, he was playing catch-up all front 9, but he was saving himself.
But I think that's when Chambly said he was like, okay. It's starting to happen now. He salvaged it. And that's what Chambly said. He said something like, that didn't lead to disaster, but it told me that he was nervous. And he hadn't shown that. He hadn't really shown that.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, he was so steely in the British Open.
Yeah. But the Masters is a different deal. That's why it's the British Open and not the Open. It's the British Open. It's a lesser tournament than the U.S. Open and the Masters.
So, one thing where you talk about retrospectively and you're like, man, I was too hard on that guy or I wasn't hard enough. Well, since we were at the national championship game in Pasadena and we watched our Knowles march down the field and win the game, the Trey Mason thing I saw, but I didn't really take it in and absorb it all that much. When he does the Heisman pose near the goal line, like you could see it, but it was on the far opposite corner of the field. I'm too down wallowing in my own lost decade-ness, thinking that we came all the way across the country to see this epic comeback fall short. Like so many times for lost Acadians.
Right.
We lost games in the final few moments. That it didn't dawn on me that how it played on television until I saw the actual replay of the game. I would have been screaming things that I regret for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you would have had a level of vitriol there.
The camera gets all close.
And he's right in your grill. Yeah.
Screw you.
Yeah, get you some.
Eternally.
Yeah, get you some. Well, it didn't age well for him, did it?
No. And you know what it does? It makes you hate Nick Marshall more for no reason. Because when he's basically ready to cry when KB catches it, they cut to Nick Marshall. They should have found Trey Mason's ass instead of Nick Marshall.
Get you some of that.
Nick didn't do anything wrong.
So, days after ESPN's Baxter Holmes reported that multiple NBA teams have voiced concerns about returning to gameplay without a warm-up period, the league has reportedly considered a 25-day return-to-play plan that's hoping to deploy when the country's health situation improves. So they're just waiting for the slightest go-ahead. And here's what I'm going to say about that, because it's really the news born out of the weekend. And we touched on it beginning last week. I thought that the aggressive discussions that were beginning in Professional Sports League were a sign of real desperation to get that money. And there's no doubt it is. And it's happening. Major League Baseball has one. You and I believe, we've talked about this off the air, the NFL is going to start. They don't care. They don't care about your virus. They don't care about your health. They don't care about any of it. They care about their money. They're going to play football.
They'll play in the indoor, bubbles if they need to.
They'll
just put some cameras in there.
They're going to do it. They're going to play football, and they're going to tell their workforce, "You're going to play football if you want your money." That's what you're going to do. You're going to make a calculated guess and risk, and you're going to play.
Right. Hey, Bruce, your old ass.
Yep.
You're quarantined, and when you coach the game, you're going to coach from on high. You're not allowed on the sidelines.
Yeah. But it's happening. They're going to play. College football is another story. Thoughts on that later. But, man, every day that goes by, we continue to see these kinds of reports. Like the NBA already has a plan. They're like, we have a 25-day plan. Just give us the go-ahead. Go ahead, tell us. We're good? Okay, let's go. 25 days. Let's get it on. Now I'm just waiting for MLB and NHL to do the same.
Yeah.
And forgive me for sounding much like the mercenaries of the NFL. I'm okay with that. You go risk your lives for my entertainment, please. Let's go. Let's go. Get off your ass.
It's not like you're making, a grand a month. You're making this is the minor leagues.
Yeah,
this would be morally reprehensible on your part if you wanted to double-A baseball and to be back in Tallahassee.
You're in the prime shape of your life. Get out there and play some football. Let's go.
That Arizona bubble plan is really fascinating.
Fascinating. Whatever you got to do, let's go. Come on, baseball needs to get started.
It can happen, and that was on ESPN this morning about the plan, and now Zach Wheeler, former Met, thankfully, has spoken up and said that he wouldn't participate in it because...
Oh, fine, Zach. Have a good one.
Right, because he's going to have his first child, right?
Well,
so he wants to be present for that.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says you can't leave, do that, and then go to Quarantineville, USA for 2 weeks. That's not your home and not in the Arizona bubble. You go to this place, they watch you for 2 weeks, you're good to go, you can re-enter the bubble. Who says that you have to be in the bubble and you can't leave it? There's a step in between that we can discuss here.
I agree. And
Stop being so binary, damn it.
Yes, those conversations need to continue. That's right. You continue on down that path, you mercenaries. Let's go. Play your damn sport. Let's get it on. By the way, 2 months of NBA action starting around April the 18th means that you would begin, the 25-day period would begin at the end of April. So you'd start in May. That would go to late July or August.
Oh, they want to fill out the whole 82?
I think they're trying. They're going to allow they would be able, they want to be able to crown an NBA champion before the start of the NFL season, which they think is going to start on time.
So in August finals is what they're looking for.
Adam Silver's like, those bitches are going to play. Okay, here's what we're going to do.
But isn't it important to say, to hear the NBA, they're perceived to be better than they are, more aware than they are.
But they are also more aware than the NFL and other leagues.
Correct.
Yes,
it's just more in the middle on the To say that they have a protocol in place, love it. I love it.
Yes, let's go.
Because they're quick to punch guy.
Well, it opens the door for everybody else now who wanted to do it anyhow, but they're worried about
like the PGA Tour is like, not crazy to have an August PGA Championship now, is it?
Let's get it on. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ES.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less. Right now, you can get family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Gordo's North Side. That's right, all day, every day after 4 p.m. Please pay with a credit card. Bring your own pen to sign the receipt. And they want to thank you, and so do I, for supporting your local restaurants at a time where they need it most. By the way, I'm looking at these meals. Woo. First of all, give them a call, 850-727-5914. In order of the, Tom, you want to help me out here? Because I don't think you want me doing this. Lechon asado.
Yeah. Lechon asado.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo.
4 Cubans.
4 Cubans.
Pollo a la plancha.
Pollo a la plancha.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's like beans and rice, right? With some plantains. Boom.
Well, the arroz con pollo is plantains and a chicken salad. Roast pork is the lechon asado.
GordosCubanFood.com. Ta-da!
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
It's time to unite, Tallahassee. After years of our great local restaurants serving us, it's our turn to serve them. With this simple purchase of gift cards, we can help them survive the financial toll of COVID-19. Buy them for yourself, your family, or as gifts. No doubt we'll all have a reason to go out and celebrate soon as we safely can. Go to hungertohelp.com and show your support for the heart of our community today. This message brought to you in part by your local Tallahassee radio broadcasters.
Golic and Wingo.
Wait, here's a real question. Okay. How often do you guys wash your sheets?
You're supposed to wash your sheets?
Okay. Like, that's my thought. It's like,
that's terrifying.
Mine's like once every few months, hopefully.
Yeah, I think we wash our sheets like a couple times a week.
A couple times a week?
Yeah.
A couple times a week. Like in the same week, you would wash your sheets multiple times. Sometimes. Now, I know you're not doing it.
No, but sometimes we collectively do that.
I got into a heated debate with a bunch of people in a group chat about that, so I was curious.
How long it happens or how often it should happen?
How often I want to know how often in real life people wash their sheets. So at Golic and Wingo, how often do you wash your sheets?
Now I need to know what were the hot takes in this text stream. Like, what were the
Some people wash them weekly. Others of us who live in normal life hopefully wash them every couple of months.
I got a couple of months. I would venture to say we wash them once a week or once every 2 weeks. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds. Once every 2 months?
Maybe. I got a nice quarterly washing.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee's unquestioned sports authority.
Who do you think you are? I am.
97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Did, and if you didn't, I would suggest that you go back and catch it. It's worth your time, and you don't even have to be a golf fan to enjoy what it is I'm referencing. They did a really, really, really good job of the rewatch in Tiger Woods' win at the 2019 Masters, and Nance's interview with Tiger throughout the round, and then, of course, the post-round interview, Q&A. I think that's a win for Tiger in the biggest way, other than his painted-on beard. He really came across exceptionally well. More human than we've ever seen. Well, it's ridiculous, but
is that like Xerxes' eyebrows in 300?
Yeah. I mean, it really was something to behold. I'm like, come on, man. Tiger's got hair issues in general. He's wanted to grow that beard. He can't grow the beard. We all know he can't, so now he's just painting it on. All right, bless your heart. Secondly, he's had the hair issues up top that he refuses to acknowledge and just keeps growing it out, even though there's not a lot to grow there. He can never figure out what to do.
No. And it was awesome last year because
when he took the hat off, you're like, what are you doing,
Yeah,
man?
it's like an hour at the Augusta Press Center.
Yeah.
And so he's on Golf Channel live from the Masters for an hour answering questions in his green jacket with his hair just all over the place.
Yeah. Well, and there are just patches of hair. It's like remnants of what was a long time ago. But that's neither here nor there. And one thing I would say as one of these people on the show who for 20 years now has tried to guide those that are losing their hair, because we all went on the journey with me as I lost mine. You got to own it. That's the way to do it. Either that or be Matthew McConaughey and spend $1 million a year on your weave, I suppose. But short of that.
Or Brady.
Brady, right. Short of that, you got to let it go and not be so vain. But guys like Tiger really shouldn't worry about it. Men of color pull off baldness typically better than white guys, typically. Now, there are plenty of white guys who pull it off. I'd like to think I'm one of them, but you have to be lucky, and I'm lucky. Bruce Willis is lucky. People like that are lucky. You have to have the right head for it. You have to have the right shape. I didn't know before I shaved my head. I was like, ooh, well, we're about to find out. It worked out. If you don't have that, I get it. I don't know what you got to do.
Adazio. He's in the camp.
He looks great. He would look ridiculous with hair, wouldn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So, anyhow, the point would be some guys have it, some guys don't. That's a matter of luck. You don't do anything to earn it. But if you have a tan head, and he does, you don't have to worry about it, typically. Unless you have like an oblong-shaped head, you're going to be all right.
Well, that's why I always thought, personally, that LeBron would look menacing.
Menacing if he just shaved it. Just let it go.
With the beard?
Just let it go.
Oh, my God.
I don't get it. Anyhow, a lot of guys, black or white, doesn't really matter, seem to struggle with the idea of that. I don't know if they think their hair is their identity. But, Tiger, you've always had crappy hair, even when you had hair. So just call it a day, man. Just call it a day.
You know, it's really good news for Jordan Spieth that he's not going to win much of anything anymore because he has like
struggling.
the Feinbaum problem.
Oh, yeah, he's got issues.
He's got a giant dome.
Yeah, he's got issues. All right, so back to the point. I thought that was the most human we've ever seen Tiger Woods. Did you watch it? Did you see it?
I saw portions of it. I did watch other Masters over the weekend, so I this was in between.
Get a chance. I'm sure you can pull it up. Go watch the after the round. Go watch the commentary. I thought what was smart about this, and I want to get into this because this is something that is going to be born out of the coronavirus that is going to further enhance our media consumption. There will be good things that come out of this. Advancements in technology is one of them, or some of them. And then also ideas, show ideas, obviously format ideas, things like that. Are all things that, you know, again, the mother of invention, necessity is going to allow for here. And I thought about this the whole time I was watching all the Masters over the weekend, but in particular this one, the interaction, the ability to get Tiger to sit down, I don't know if they had to pay him or not, the ability to get him to sit down and go through the round and tell you what he's thinking. And I thought Nance did a good job of, you know, you have to ask the question. Now, Tiger's protective of players on tour unless he hates you. But for the most part, he's protective of players on tour. I mean, I give him credit for that.
I saw the interactions at 6 and 12.
Okay.
And 12 is one of those moments where he's being protective.
Very protective of Fran, as he calls him.
Right, but he's hanging Tony Finau out to dry. And it's hilarious because, well, I know that Brooksy hits the ball better than I do. And you know, so that means that the wind got up there and it killed the ball.
Wind got him.
And Fran didn't hit a bad shot.
Oh, he hit it well. Yeah.
And you know, you just, in that moment, you know you can't go right at the flag. So that's what I did. But, you know, meanwhile, Tony Finau is going right at the flag on the live broadcast, which means he's thinking to himself, The hell is wrong with you, kid?
Yeah, he did.
The dumbest thing you could have done.
And he likes him because he did go back and compliment him later when Nance said to him, this was tough at the end there for Tony. He had the double, and he's really kind of talking about the guys that fell apart around Tiger. And he said, when you look at how far he hits it, Tiger, one can guess that he'll be in contention to win this championship for many years. Tiger didn't think that Nance's assessment of Tony Finau was the right one, pretty clearly, because he immediately goes, well, and he likes to draw it. Distance, Jim, has nothing to do with it. I just won. I'm like middle of the pack on tour these days in distance. Well, he's actually upper echelon, but not compared to Brooks and some of the other long hitters.
And he's no longer afraid with that being the reality.
Used to bother him to no end.
Used to bother him, but now he doesn't care if he's got 185 in when somebody has 125.
He's a better iron hitter than player than anybody else. So, but he knows Tony's longer than he is, and he's just like, yeah, but he draws it. He hits it right to left, Jim. That's going to give him a chance. That's going to give him. And so a lot of things happen in this broadcast, including his insights as to what his mindset was on each of the holes, why he hit certain shots, where he made mistakes, and where he didn't. Now, this is almost a perfect round from him, and going back and watching it again reminded me of how perfectly played it was, and that his mistakes were always the right mistakes. It's about limiting the scope of your misses, as they say in golf, right? His misses are all in the right place. They're all in places, a couple of exceptions, but he's got the scrambling ability and iron play.
Well, and the putter
from around the tree.
On 9.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
That is the save of all saves. I mean, he nearly makes the damn putt.
I couldn't believe he nearly made it, and he said, you heard what he said about that, right? About the allowance for that green and understanding since they made the second cut of rough at Augusta that sometimes you'll catch a flyer, a heater as he called it.
Yeah.
And you can end up in weird places on that green.
Right. Well, same thing with 8. When he hits it out of the right rough, he goes, that thing's going to be on the next tee box.
Yeah.
Because he knows.
He knows, right.
He caught a really hot one.
Yeah.
But also on 9, when he said last year, this is probably, I don't know that he reiterated it, but it was all he could think of. Putt to the picture.
Putt to the picture
image
over
from
and
his,
over and over
the
and
lesson
over
from his
again.
father.
Yeah.
And it also helped that those greens were about 2 or 3 degrees shorter or slower than they were because of
the rain.
All that rain. Because that putt is treacherous. It's going to be impossible to keep it on the green in that situation if it's normal Sunday conditions.
But he did know that it was 2-tiered, and he did know in that I've got to carry this to carry that, and I've got to putt to the picture, as you said.
Yeah.
He had, He said he must have repeated himself 5 times in this broadcast about the right hand. And he says, making it go through,
it's an interesting thought.
It is. I don't like it, but anyhow, but I'm not Tiger Woods.
You always hear the term release the putter head.
Release the
putter
head.
Not right hand following.
He's thinking about that release being his right hand more than anything else, but he's Tiger Woods and I'm not, so whatever. You do whatever you do, buddy, because it's unbelievable. And he putted exceptionally well, and he out-putted, obviously, Brooks by a lot. He out-putted Molinari, who started off the day being impossible.
Impossible.
And he looked like he was just going to ride that wave that he's been riding over the last 2 years. Now, he's fallen off a cliff since, and I think the Masters was his undoing.
Well, it was a high wire act for him. The whole thing, for the first 6-7 holes,
it's crazy.
He's putting himself in ridiculous circumstances, but getting out of it with up and downs.
Kept making putts, and then he didn't. And then the pressure got to him. But I had forgotten about Patrick Cantlay playing so well and making a run at it and scaring the win. I had forgotten that there were I'd forgotten that Bubba Watson came charging back and did the eagle birdie stretch where you go, is this guy going to do this again? Are you kidding me? It reminded you of how that course is perfectly suited for him. And he takes advantage of it to his credit.
Yep. Dustin went nuts on the back nine.
Dustin went nuts on the back nine. If Dustin makes 2 more putts, who knows? We're talking about him as a Masters champ. And Tiger conceded that a lot of things had to go right. He had to play really well. He had to play smart, but he also needed some things to go right. He kept telling Jim Nance about, I had to put myself in a position that if I could be there in the final 4 holes to win it. And that's a really interesting insight into a mentality, that you're beginning the day with this idea of, all right, these first 9 holes are just about don't play yourself out of this thing. Give yourself a chance on the back 9 to win the Masters. I think he does that partly because that's a good way to kind of eschew pressure to start the day. And number two, I think he knows that people will wilt. It will be the Brooks Koepka mentality. Brooks adapting that from Tiger, who adapted it from Jack. Sort of this idea that, all right, some of you are not like the others. Some of you in contention right now, you don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. This is too much for you, and you'll throw up on yourselves when the time is right. Tony certainly threw up on himself. Molinari, Jesus.
He's learning, though. Tony, I think it's still an
Tony's
upward.
going to be good. They're going to be fine.
Because what he did on Sunday at the Ryder Cup, and consider that in 2 appearances at Augusta, he's been really good in both.
The problem Tony has right now is that he's never won. We talk about Tony Finau all the time. He doesn't win a damn thing.
Yep.
So you at some point you're like,
he choked away out in Arizona this year.
Yeah, you got to win something at some point. We're going to start looking at you funny. I mean, he's a weird guy. I can't quite figure him out. I don't think he's scared, but he doesn't win. Anyhow, that said, I mean, Webb Simpson wins. Patrick Cantlay wins.
Oh, Webb is a tough son of a guy. I hated him for a long time as like one of those outsiders. You're ruining my weekend, Webb Simpson.
Yeah, get out of here, Webb Simpson.
I've moved off of that.
He can play.
Oh, yes.
Well, and he's won, and now he's won a major, and Webb is a player.
He's fearless on the greens. That's what I love about him.
And he played well in this Masters. I think he finished -10, -11. He was good. He was good in this tournament, too. So that leaderboard was extraordinary. I mean, it's a who's who. It's everybody. Brooks will forever rue the day that he couldn't make putts. I mean, I know everybody looks at the double, but to me, he doesn't make the putt on 18. He could have put pressure on Tiger if he makes the putt on 18.
Okay, so the most heroic shot, different term for
it's golf, sure.
The most heroic shot he hits on Sunday is the tee ball on 17 after Tiger hits it and sticks it to rolls it back to a foot or two, whatever.
Right.
And that whole place is going nuts. And you can see in his body language as he executes the swing, there's defiance. He goes, screw all of you people. Yeah. I'm going to take your joy and make it another win for me. And he hits his second shot and sticks it, but then he misses the damn putt.
Misses the putt. Got to make the putt. Didn't make the putt those days. He said afterwards in his interview, I played beautifully. I played the way I wanted to play. I didn't make putts. And I think that's a fair assessment. He did what he needed to do.
The worry for him is since that point,
he hasn't been.
The Woodland one, he would. Anybody else on the planet,
he wins.
If Gary comes down with, you don't want to say things like that these days, but let's say he had a cold and he couldn't play.
He didn't play well.
Right. Well, then Brooks would have won that thing by 5 or 6. It was like flight A, flight B, and then the rest of the PGA Tour at that U.S. Open. But at the British, he had a really good chance and missed a ton of putts. And then down the stretch last season, he missed a ton of putts.
Well, and that's been his bugaboo anyhow. Like, when he makes putts, he's really, really hard to beat because he does everything else well. But that stretch where he dominated golf, he made a lot of putts. I don't know if he can ever duplicate that stretch again. I mean, he's certainly better than the one-year wonder that is the 2015 Jordan Spieth.
Right.
Clearly. And
he's not as bad as Rory has been the last few years in terms of critical major putting. Like, it just goes away, and you're like, what the hell?
Well, the weirdest thing, I think Rory would have won the British if my man doesn't triple or whatever it was on number 1 and end up shooting what did he shoot, like an 80? And he ends
something like that, yeah.
But what was, again, using the word within the realm of golf, was heroic. He misses the cut by 1 stroke because he shoots a 65 or whatever the next day. That was awesome. I have a feeling if he had gotten over that front 9 and the pressures of hosting, that he might have gone on to win.
Sure.
But woulda, coulda, shoulda. Long story short.
The right side of the border won anyway. Shane Lowry. Good job, Republic of Ireland.
What I will tell you is the post-round commentary from Tiger, as we rewatched the celebration, the euphoria, the embrace with LaCava, the embrace with his mom and his son and daughter and his girlfriend, the walk through the legion of fans chanting his name, the sheer joy on his face. Nick Faldo choked up attempting to describe it and talk to Jim Nantz about it, who unfairly kind of kicked to Nick, who's trying to fight back tears, who says, this might be the greatest moment in golf history. There's not a dry eye in the house. That includes me, Jim, back to you. He's struggling. Faldo is struggling. And he had a dicey history with Tiger.
Oh, very much so.
But he admires him. That is clear.
Well, and he knows how hard that is because he never did it.
Right. I mean, he's won the Masters, but
No, to come back at an advanced age and climb that mountain.
Yeah,
let alone one with an injury history like Tiger's.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No, I think everybody, even people who were once his sworn enemies, Tiger that is, loved that moment. They did, because that's about the human spirit. That's an awful lot about getting back up.
So I did not see this moment, but I did read the transcript because Bob Herrick whipped out an article really quickly after it about all the things that Tiger said to Nance.
It was shocking to see him that human. He choked up.
So, but what I'm really happy to read in retrospect, and I know this sounds like an overly PR related but when he was hugging his son and then his daughter got kind of a glancing hug.
She's a shot. She hates the media.
I loved reading that passage.
That's very
useful. It made me feel better. It made me feel a lot better that he wasn't favoring one child over the other in a key moment.
Definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
Actually, and I would also, I tell you what, I don't know why we don't remember it this way. It shows you the brain plays tricks on you. Because, Tom, to that point, I sat up on the edge of my chair. Because like you last year, and we talked about it, and many other people felt this way too. I think I have a theory as to why. Multiple. The hug with his daughter is not glancing. I thought it was. The hug of Charlie runs to him, and his arms are up. So it's dramatic. Tiger's coming around a corner, and he sees him. He almost instantly starts to cry. He sees Charlie, and they bear hug. That captured the rest of the world emotionally.
Sure.
Right in the feels, as they say. Everybody in that moment's like, I mean, it's breathtaking. Because the image of him hugging his son is the same of Tiger's dad hugging him in 97. The same embrace through tears. So nothing's going to live up. No hug subsequently is going to live up to that hug. It's a father and a son, the whole thing. But when you watch him hug Sam, it's a long hug. I thought it was brief. He shields her from the camera, which is what we saw, which we instantly thought, what's that? What's going on there? Mm-hmm. But he's whispering to her, and he's holding her.
And she's very anxious in public around crowds.
Right.
Which you can see if you're the daughter or offspring of a superstar of any kind, right?
She's turned her head away from the camera. He's holding her, but the affection and the love is the same.
Yeah.
And he's whispering to her. And he says to Jim Nance, he's choked up talking about it. He's like, she doesn't like the press, she doesn't like the spotlight, and we had our moment. And I said some things to her, and he didn't say what that was. It looks like he's just saying over and over again, I love you, I love you. And it's what it looked like to me. And then he sees his mom, and that's emotional too, because he does reveal what she says. She says, I love you, and that she's proud of him. And he's remembering while he's hugging her that moment in 97. He's like, everybody remembers me and my dad, but I also hugged my mom that day, and I remember what she said to me then. And as she was hugging me here, she's telling me she loves me and patting my back, and then also she told me my dad would be proud. And he's like, that's heavy. That's tough, And then he hugs his girlfriend, and
then he leaves them all in the dust.
Well, he's got to go, yeah.
But he's gone, and Charlie's trying to catch him. He's like, the hell with all of you.
Well,
you had your time.
I love that he slaps five with a few patrons. He's just like, yeah, whoa! He's like Ric Flair all of a sudden. And that's when Faldo and Nance are talking about it, and even Jim Nance, who I think had a disdain for Tiger for a stretch there. He comes back around, all of that. Now, Jim has no room to ever have disdain for anybody. Yeah. We don't want to get into that right now. But anyhow, long story short.
2 words, oil painting.
Yeah, above your own fireplace, bitter divorce, fun read. That was in The Smoking Gun, wasn't it? I mean, all those years ago? I think it was. But what I think is funny is when he gets to go in to sign the scorecard, you have the players there. And I know he doesn't mean to do it, and I think he's probably on cloud 9, but I laughed again for the second time. Bernard Langer just gets dissed in a way that's just it's just wrong. I mean, Langer's there in his green jacket. He's the last in the line. Tiger saves the best hug to me for Brooks, whom he doesn't realize is there until Bubba points to him, and then Brooks
kind of like comes out of the picture, right?
Yeah, he kind of comes over.
Yeah.
They hug. Anyhow, he gives his handshakes to the other guys, and Bernard, whose idea it was, is sitting over there looking starry-eyed at Tiger like he can't wait to shake his hand, and Tiger about blows past him. Oh, hey, there you go. All right. He just walks. It's just like a nothing. Like, oh, sorry about that. His old ass. You know, he just walks by, and you're kind of like, come on, man, give Bernard a little bit more love than that. I mean, Langer's a legend. But anyhow, I thought this is something that the networks need to learn from and utilize. And I was explaining to my wife yesterday, and I guess not explaining because she came walking in to watch the tail end, and I said to her, you know, this is ingenious. I don't know how many people you can get to do it, but they ought to start stockpiling these. You've got to go back to, you know, whether it's Phil's, Tigers, any of the majors, any of them. Also, I would note, it could be the freaking Shell Houston Open, anything. Like, go back to previous champions. There have been some dramatic wins in every tournament on the tour. There are first wins. There are wins at the end of a career. There are improbable comebacks. The stories in golf are boundless. Go back and find the most significant non-major wins. Find the one that, I think it was in Houston when John Daly won for the last time on the PGA Tour, and he breaks down in tears. Go interview him and go through that round that he won 10 years ago. Have it in the coffers. There's a rain delay in Houston. We're about to lose our entire audience.
Yeah.
Nay. A very special treat for you. We've got about a 2-hour rain delay is what they're projecting here. Here we are talking with John Daly, his win on this very golf course from 8 years ago and his memories of that fateful day.
Yeah.
And then go through it. Let's watch. I'm glued at that point.
Yeah, I could tell you that there was one time I was driving somewhere in the Southeast, and I had SiriusXM on, and I was just looking for any sports I could find, and it was baseball season. And I put the Cardinals game on because they were one of two early afternoon games, and they had a rain delay. But the rain delay coverage was a replay of like the 60-something World Series in Boston, and it's Bob Gibson at Fenway Park in an elimination game.
Yeah.
They end up winning the series on Bob Gibson's arm on the strength of it. But it was like Vin Scully and Jack Buck on the call. I mean, it was just an absurd moment in time. You're like, oh, my God, this content. Yeah. It was riveting. And what was crazy was it's an afternoon game like those World Series games were, and there was a fire in downtown Boston. And they're talking about the game like, and they have not contained the fire yet, just a few blocks away from us. Our thoughts go out to all the folks out there who will be affected by the fire. But you're just like, wow, what a moment in time. This is way better than like, an Adam Wainwright over the hill start. I'm glad I get to hear this.
No, you're right. And that stuff is interesting. And I think you could really utilize this concept across sport. Any kind of, it wasn't until the last 15 years that we've seen the unfortunate rise in lightning delays in football games. It never existed because, well, we didn't really worry about fan safety for a very long time. But we do now. I think we're a little oversensitive now. But lightning delays persist in baseball, in football. You could have these kinds of things ready to go, queued up, ready to go. Here we are talking with Chris Weinke about the win in 99 over. And just, okay, I got this. Let's listen to this. This will be fascinating. That's one of the things that's created the boom in podcasts is you get somebody on who was in something of significance. Could be a movie, could have been a debut album they made, could be whatever, and you ask them about it. Most people are thrilled to have been a part of history or have had made history and done something of significance, created an impact in their particular field or their sport or their genre, whatever it might be, and they'll talk to you about it. And I think that this was really good because having the player watch the round again while you record, you capture moments where they're willing to tell you, well, I didn't quite catch that. Actually, when it came off my club, I thought it was going to end up short there in that bunker, and I remember I was very concerned. That's why you'll hear me here in a second say to Joey, go. I thought it was going to end up short. If you're short there, you have no shot at the flagstick. Like, the concept behind what club, why they're thinking, everything about the strategy comes out in those moments.
He was over 6, though, because he hated that he missed the putt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's hitting his tee shot on the hole. They need another 7 minutes of Nance and Tiger to fill. And Tiger's like, I missed the putt. No, it doesn't matter. This hole doesn't matter. Why are we still watching this hole?
He's funny that way. I loved how angry he was. So on 18, he makes me laugh because they asked him, what were you thinking on 18? You've got 2 putts to win. And the camera captures him after chips up to the safest or pitches to the safest part of the green. He doesn't go at the flag because if you go at the flag and you go long, it's off the green and you're in trouble. He does what he does so often. He just plays it to the middle and says, I'm going to two-putt from there and this thing's over. So when he gets to the top, you see him looking around. He's taking the moment in. And they asked him about the putt, and he says, well, he asked him about the second putt before he hits the second putt. He goes, now you missed your first putt there, Tiger, and you've got that little 1.5-footer coming back to win the Masters. Are you nervous? What are your thoughts while you're sitting there that you had a moment to pause because you mark it? And he goes, well, actually, I was thinking that putt should have gone in. It was a perfect putt. I hit it exactly as it, and every other year it would have gone in.
Right.
But that's a new green, and I got, and he's mad.
Yeah.
He's like, so he goes, I mean, come on, Jim. It was perfect. He's furious because it lipped out. And he has his club race. He thinks it's going in, and then he does this flip and catches it, which is smooth as hell. But he's so mad because he's sure that's going in, and then it doesn't, and he's still mad about it. And that shows you, again, insight to his mindset.
Well, that's the putt he made in 2001.
Right, right.
He didn't need to make it in 01.
Yeah,
it was already done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and that's the one that Brooksy missed as well a group earlier because the book on the green was it does this. Yeah, but they resodded and restructured the whole thing.
For 25 years, it's always done that. That's ridiculous.
That's right. I probably need to footnote something on Brooks, though. He did win the PGA the next major at Bethpage. So there were hints of problems coming, but he did respond to the very next major.
Well, that's
and
when
put it on the
boat
table.
raced everybody.
Well, he nearly crashed and burned at the end, though.
He tried. That's where Dustin was coming to get him.
Yeah.
I think he's shown some frailty that hadn't been there in a while. Like you're seeing it now. Yeah.
Against the curve of what he was projecting to be, where you're like, whoa, buddy.
Either way, he's got 4 majors. I mean, he's already got 4. If he stumbles into 3 more, you're amongst the creme de la creme in the history of the game.
He's going to get 5-6 more.
It'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't know that he cares enough about golf to do it. And it sounds crazy. I don't love certain aspects of his game. He can overpower a lot of courses. And so in that sense, as long as he can still overpower, he probably will. But if some of that goes away, I don't like him. I worry about him.
I like his short game more than most people do. Maybe that's a point of contention for you, but I think his sand game is a lot better than it gets credit for.
I like his sand game fine.
And his typically, this is going to be the key for me. His putting between 4 and 8 feet. I know that tends to go as you get older, but he's got a long way before he's in that.
Oh, he's not old, yeah. No.
He is steely, and I think Tiger's rise and resurgence only makes him more apt to be the anti-hero because that's what he enjoys being. And that rivalry for 3 majors in a row, you had it. Now, he blew the doors off of Tiger. They played together, remember, the first 2 rounds, Bethpage. But you had 3 majors in a row with Molinari and Tiger.
And that's when we
found
Bethpage was when we found out Tiger was hurt, and the rest of the year was done. I mean,
but yes, it was
still. No, I mean, he
unceremonious.
No, without question. But I think we know that wasn't Tiger.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, for Brooks, he's got to stop getting hurt. He's hurt all the time. I mean, every year we're talking about how hurt he is and how much time he's missing. He's got to stop getting hurt. We'll see. These guys don't always learn.
He's trimmed up a bit, though. That should help.
Let's keep it that way. You don't need to keep benching 500 pounds. There's no reason. That's your big pet peeve, too.
It is.
There are a lot of things about Brooks that would piss you off if he wasn't a Knoll.
That is true. But one thing I will say about him that's unlike the others, he didn't rise to prominence as a wiry person.
Yeah, and then get big. He was already
big.
Yeah, he was already a big guy, yeah. Anyhow, great concept, a lot of fun. If you missed it, you can find it. I went to golf.com. They've got parts of it there. You can find it almost anywhere, I think, now on demand. It's worth your time because Tiger does give a real human side to himself. He gives it up. He shows his emotion a couple different times. He gets choked up talking about his caddy, which I thought was awesome. Might have been one of my favorite things. The family stuff you knew would choke him up, but the stuff with Joey LaCava is huge because he says that he encouraged him to get on another bag, and he said he wouldn't do it. And that's when Tiger starts getting choked up. He has to swallow, and he's kind of sitting there gathering himself. He said, he would come to my house when I couldn't move, and he would drive me to my kids' soccer games. And I would beg him because I wasn't getting any better, and it was frustrating. And he's like, he's missing out on money. I mean, he'd been asked by other professionals to take over the bag. Of course, he caddied for couples when couples won.
Yeah.
So he's been around the block, and Tiger's like, go get on another bag. It's okay. I know you're worried that I'm going to be. No, I'm telling you, go get on a younger player's bag right now and go make your money. And he wouldn't do it. He's like, I'm with you, boss. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. And so in that moment when he says, we did it, which is probably not what you'd think you'd hear from Tiger, but when he slaps Joey in the chest and they look at each other and they have the moment, he goes, we did it. We did it. It's genuine. It's really cool.
Well, he mentioned that he would drive Tiger's kids to practices when Tiger was not allowed to drive an automobile.
Yeah.
Like Joey came in, moved in with him, and took care of him as he got better and all that kind of stuff.
And he gave him credit for, and this is interesting, we always wonder, how much exactly does a caddy do for the world's best players? How much, like obviously to have the kind of preternatural, transcendent talent that you have as a Tiger Wood, what's a caddy going to do for you? Well, a lot if you trust him and you believe in him. And he said about that final round, he goes, there's so much happening in my head because the leaderboard is changing all the time. And some of the people that are taking the lead or tying me are ahead of me. And some, in that situation are right there behind me or right in front of me. And I'm trying to watch the scoreboard, but also calculate I got 179, got to carry here, got to do. He said Joey would take a look at that leaderboard, instantly memorize the 7 or 5 to 7 people that could impact us in terms of decision-making. Like, what do I got to hit here?
Right.
Should I go for it?
Because
Did he birdie that?
Yeah, because these are the elite.
Right.
It's not a bunch of schleps, and then 2 guys. They're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah.
Webb Simpson's good. Cantlay's good. Dustin Johnson's good. Obviously, playing with Molinari and Finau, he can keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
But he's got, obviously Brooks is Brooks. He's got to worry about all these different guys, and they're birdieing or they're bogeying. Something's happening, and then meanwhile Bubba's on the rise, and he's like, "What? Bubba's a 10 on?" Yeah. He said it's all going on, and he would just kind of glance over at LaCava and say, "Hey, what do I need here?" And he's like, "You're good. Just throw a 4 in the air here, boss, just like we've been doing. You don't need anything special," which is his way of saying he parred that last hole. Don't worry about him, Yeah. And so that's kind of cool to think about.
Well, the other thing that I laughed about is the putt that Tiger was the most nervous about.
Was the easy one, and when Joey
16.
says to him, he goes, "What are you doing?
What the hell is wrong with you?"
Yeah, it's left edge. Let's go.
Just kick it.
He said he was nervous about it, and he knew it was left edge. And then
you've made longer putts with like the actual toe of your putter turned in when you get pissed off. Dude.
I think it's funny that he's looking
Tim Cuppet, use the cue stick.
I think it's funny that he's looking at him. You see Tiger look back at him. And
got a read here?
He's like, what?
Do I have a read?
It's 1 foot. Just But your player. At that point, you would know he's nervous. So why did he just ask me for a read? And then he obliges him and practically falls in the water to give him a read, which makes me laugh. He goes, and that's when he said to Nance, "You see Joe back there? Yeah, made him give me a read." I think that's funny. They'll always have that laugh.
Well, in watching the 01 Masters, one thing that's interesting, and I saw some of the clips of another one of Tiger's wins. I forget which one it was, but I actually went out and saw it. Phil's first in 04. I never saw that round live.
Oh, that's a great round, yeah.
My third grandmother, she passed away, and her funeral was that weekend, and so her family was in town, and we were hosting them. And I heard the roar down in the living room when Phil won, but that was one I just never saw blow by blow.
So it's good to catch up. Did you see Phil's post on Instagram?
Yes, I did.
Oh God, that's
with the robe. That robe is majestic.
Well, it's from the Masters. I think it's whole. I mean, that's just so good. Who's ready to watch themselves win the Masters today at 2:30?
So I didn't have time to see it. I actually pulled that one up on YouTube. But that's the thing. Like, imagine if you're a buyer for Augusta, and they're like, "All right, we got to get some robes. Do you want the $40 robe or the $1,300?" Well, unfortunately, I think we're victims of our own reputation.
We're pretty much going to need the $5,000 robe. Yeah. No, that's good stuff. That was funny. One final note on this, and we'll move away. I know a lot of you don't like golf, but this is a little bit less about golf. Jason Day, in the year that Adam Scott won. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You're up 2 with 2 to play. I forgot that Jason Day had it won. He has it won. I also forgot how many times Jason Day finishes in the top 5 in the Masters.
Sure.
He's in the Tigers year right there.
Mm-hmm. It's like Ernie Els. Always there. Always there.
Oh.
I watched David Duval in 01.
Oh, that still pisses me.
Putted away. I was going to say something else.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That poor guy. He declined the interview afterwards, too. They said he's declined the interview. I said, yeah, to go weep. He had a freaking 4-footer on 18 to force a playoff, and Tiger might not even have parred the hole. Tiger was wilting down the stretch in 01. Everybody was just wilting faster.
Wilting faster, yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Tallahassee's tastiest jumbo wings are back in force. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open daily from 4 to 9 p.m. for all your takeout needs. Enjoy an all-day, everyday special of 10 wings and a basket of fries for just $10. Plus, have the Corner Pocket make you a signature to-go beer or liquor beverage as well. Red Russians, anybody? Just call 574-2724 for your wing order today. That's 574-2724 for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Or to stop by and order in person, please use the outdoor deck. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature Which, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
It's time to unite, Tallahassee. After years of our great local restaurants serving us, it's our turn to serve them. With this simple purchase of gift cards, we can help them survive the financial toll of COVID-19. Buy them for yourself, your family, or as gifts. No doubt we'll all have a reason to go out and celebrate soon as we safely can. Go to hungertohelp.com and show your support for the heart of our community today. This message brought to you in part by your local Tallahassee radio broadcasters.
With a Bojangles 3-piece Chicken Supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
to Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hope this finds you doing well. Appreciate you taking some time to listen in. If you miss portions of the show, we'll post it both on iTunes and to our webpage, ESPNTallahassee.com. Catch up at your leisure. A lot of people, unfortunately, with a lot of time on their hands right now. So any chance you get to tune in, we appreciate that. And hopefully it entertains you and maybe even distracts you if needed. You can email us if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's at @JCameronShow. WTSM app, good. And we're still doing YouTube, but we're not doing video. Can't watch us do the show, per se. Again, skeleton crew here these days, but you can listen to the audio if that's how you get it there on YouTube. Well, it's Monday, and that means it's time to talk to our good buddy, Ira Schoffel, warchant.com, the website. Hello, Ira. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great, man. Doing okay. I mean, it's all relative these days, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're hanging in there. And have you finished all of your housing projects? Have you got the garden going? Have you fixed the door? Have you started your new exercise program? Did you paint that thing?
We did. We've done some good work in the yard. I think some decent work in the yard. And last night I finally finished cleaning my office.
Whoa!
Which has been, dude, at some point, I don't know when, some point over the last year, my office became a storage closet for some reason. And it just got to where anytime anybody had anything that they didn't know what to do with or didn't want to deal with right then, it just went in my office. And so I just cleared it all out. I just cleared everything out, started from scratch, and moved everything around. And, dude, it's awesome now. I got to where I couldn't even work in there. I would just work at the kitchen table because it was such a cluster. But now I can go back, retreat to my office.
So in some arenas, you've done what you were supposed to do during a quarantine, or you've done what you thought you would do if you ever were given the time to do it. And then others, because I should speak for myself. In some aspects of house management and decluttering and lawn maintenance and all of that sort of stuff, I've really been a champion. I've probably made 15 trips to the purple box or whatever where I drop off clothes and we wash them and make sure they're all good to go and all that and put them in a bag and they're airtight on. But, man, I have gotten rid of more shirts that I'm never going to wear. I've had to have honest conversations with myself because it's tough because you go through the closet and you're like, I really love this shirt. But let's be honest, you haven't worn this shirt in 9 months. If you haven't worn a shirt in 9 months, certainly if you haven't worn a shirt in a year, you ain't wearing that shirt. It's time to let it go. It's time to move it on down the road. And I had a hard time with that. And I had to, I made excuses. I rationalized. I did it with pants and some shoes and some hats. It's hard for a man to get rid of a hat that he's enjoyed over the years. I have an old College World Series cap from when Florida State was out there like 15 years ago. I love that cap, but it's beat to hell. I finally had to let it go. Somebody's going to get that cap. And if they don't mind wearing a sweat-stained College World Series cap, they're good to go. So I did all of that. But then in still others, I swore I was going to get some stuff done, and it hasn't happened. It's just like, I don't know, it's like the 350-pound guy trying to get down to 250. That first step is hard. It's just really hard. You got to embrace it and know it. And there's some decluttering, sounds like you've done now. You've tackled the tough stuff that I still got to do. But I don't know which item to pick up first. I just stare at it, and then I move on. I sigh, and I move on.
What's funny is I'm much more interested in doing the outdoor stuff because, to me, things inside the house, I feel like it turns into cleaning. And I'm just averse to cleaning. So I'll be like, hey, let's do this in the yard. Let's do this. And Kim's like, you know what? You still have to clean your office. You still have to. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But going outside and digging up a plant or a bush or something like that, now that's real. Now I've done something.
That's a man. That's out there and doing some things, getting his hands in the dirt.
Exactly. By the way, when you turn in your stuff to Goodwill, what have you, you should autograph it all. Yeah, this was a Jeff Cameron hat.
Yeah. Say, by the way, in case you didn't know, I'll put the date on it, and then I'll even leave a little note that just says, "You're welcome." To be an over-the-top a-hole. So, hey, Miko Dotson, can he play? I know he once had 9 picks. It was a big deal. The kid comes in from FAU. Talk to me.
Yeah, the one thing that was readily available on YouTube was his highlight film. I guess the stadium website, I guess they have the rights to do that, so they put up a highlight video of his interceptions. He had 9 interceptions last season, and most of them are impressive plays. I mean, so the guy definitely has ball skills. He definitely has the ability to turn around and see the football in the air.
What?
And make a play on it before the receiver does, which is kind of cool. So he brings that to the table. But it's also kind of like watching high school recruiting videos. You know,
Yep.
you don't get to see what's happening the other 65, 70 plays of a game. So and I haven't made the effort yet to go back and watch all of FAU's games from the last season. So I can't say. But you know, the plays he made are impressive. I mean, he definitely has the ability to break on the ball. He definitely has good hands. Looks like an athlete when he gets the ball. I mean, he had some nice returns. So you know, look, when you lose Stanford Samuels, I think cornerback was a position where Florida State has a lot of options. I mean, I think a lot of people are excited about Travis Jay as a redshirt freshman, maybe Akeem Dent. Isaiah Bolden has shown some ability to play that position opposite of Asante Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
But bringing in this guy, I mean, it's definitely a positive thing. You know, again, you wonder if some of his picks were kind of coming from off the ball, like playing zone. So, you know, I don't know. And what we don't know yet about this Adam Fuller defense is, you know, is that a role? You know, could you be kind of a guy who, you know, is able to face the quarterback and make plays as opposed to, you know, just playing man coverage? So, you know, it's intriguing. It's definitely an intriguing pickup. And after losing Stanford Samuels, I mean, that's a position where, you know, they could use a guy that's been productive. I mean, intercepting passes has not been a strong suit of this defense in recent years.
Man, alive.
So it can only be a positive.
Even if we don't see it start until December or January, you're right about that, man. We will all eagerly anticipate somebody who turns around and makes a play on a football. Speaking of football, while we're on the subject, let's stick with it for a second. Deontay Williams comes in from Baylor. To look at him physically and to know that he's a legacy and to see him, you say, he looks like he can play a little bit, but obviously wasn't too terribly highly recruited. I don't know whether he can play or not because I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't watch a ton of Baylor football when he was on the field before his injury. What are you hearing about his ability? Clearly, it's a position of need for Florida State, so he could be a real shot in the arm if he comes in and he's quick twitch, if I could say it, and he can get to the quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he showed some of that early in his career at Baylor. He got on the field as a freshman and was, you know, pretty productive. Showed an ability to get after the quarterback, and you know, had that injury, so he missed a lot of time. You know, I think the fact that you know, as you mentioned, that position is such a position of need. I mean, you have Janaris Robinson is as close to a proven thing as they have. I mean, he for the most part had a pretty solid junior season. Was a little inconsistent, and then you know, you're looking at Josh Kendo possibly as the other defensive end, but he really has not had an opportunity or has not seized any opportunities during his time here and is coming back from a season-ending injury. So you can't say that's a sure thing. You'd like to think. I mean, he's got all the talent in the world. Was the number one, I think he was number one weak side defensive end in the country coming out of high school. So you know, the talent is certainly there. And then you got a bunch of other, you know, younger guys. You don't really have the bridge guys. Like, I think that at that position, when you look at the overall roster at defensive end, you've got a couple of older guys, Janaris and Josh Kendo, and then you've got a lot of redshirt freshmen, sophomores, true sophomores or true freshmen who have potential. You don't really have any bridge guys, like guys in the middle, like juniors or fourth-year guys, and I think that's what he is. Now, again, I mean, you'd like to think he's going to come in and be an impact player, and that would certainly help. But it's hard to project. I mean, you know, he hasn't played a lot of football the last 2 years, and you know, was not a super highly recruited guy coming out of high school in the first place. So, but I think it's a position where you really could use somebody with another guy in there with some experience that's not going to be overwhelmed by the speed of the college game or that type of thing. He'll be 22 or 23 years old. So I think those are positive just from a maturity standpoint. Whether or not he's an impact guy, I mean, it's just hard to predict.
All right, so we're not going to pretend like we have a ton of sport to delve into. I'm going to ask you random questions that have nothing to do with nothing. You ready?
All right.
The first girl that ever made you nervous?
Wow. Oh, man. Gosh, there was a girl in junior high named Alexandra O'Connell, I believe is her name.
All right.
And if she somehow had heard this, she might not even know who Ira Schofel is. But it was just, she was that girl in one of my classes, my 7th grade year, that just, I mean, you got to be kidding. I mean, it just was, I don't know what a 7th grade girl is supposed to look like, but it was Alexandra O'Connell. And, man, I couldn't even speak to her. I was that intimidated.
You know what's funny about that? Like, we're both happily married men. We have families, and we wouldn't change any of that for the world. But when you talk about the first girls in your life that ever made you nervous, oddly enough, you get nervous again. You can feel that. You can feel that, and that stress, that pit in your stomach, sort of. Ooh, I don't know what to say about this.
It's like every episode of The Wonder Years.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Spurrier, a misunderstood caricature or a perfectly understood jerk?
Good question. Since I did cover him for a few years, I think he's probably pretty well understood. I think he's one of those people that doesn't mind being a jerk. That's kind of who he is. And he, it's funny, he would tell stories. And the people around, somebody's comfortable being a jerk when their friends, the people that like them, tell stories
about
and
you being a jerk.
Revolve
yeah.
It's so, but he did a couple nice things when I covered him. One really nice thing for me when I covered him. So, there's a little piece of me that likes him for that, but also I like when people accept that they're jerks. That makes them like endearing to me.
Well, I think knowing who you are,
if you're not an awful human being,
that is correct. There's a big difference between just being a jerk, because we can all be jerks. We can all relate to that. We've all been jerks before.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us more frequently than others, certainly. But as long as you're just not like a nefarious person, you're not somebody doing evil things to people or mistreating people, then all right, you're just a bit of a jerk. As long as there's that other side to you as well. All right, eliminate one meal forever: breakfast or dessert?
Oh boy, I would eliminate breakfast. I like breakfast.
I know you do.
I would eliminate it. Of the choices there, I would eliminate breakfast. I love sweets. I just love sweets. Kim made some dirt cake for Easter. It's ridiculous.
I like dirt cake. That's good.
Yeah, man. It's problematic, but it was really good.
Well, on the food tip, hamburger or hot dog?
Oh, hamburgers all day.
Okay.
I like hot dogs.
Sure.
I'm not trying to insult hot dog. I want hot dogs to take this the wrong way.
Right. A sport. Okay, how about this? I like this one more. The last time, and it has to be a game. It has to be something that happened. I don't mean off the field or off the court. The last time sports made you cry.
Dude, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever cried from sports, to be honest with you. You know what? I mean, like, playing it maybe. As a fan, I definitely never did.
You never choked up watching a moment for an athlete? Like, I got choked up last year when Tiger won at Augusta. I didn't cry.
Yeah,
but I mean, I got a little choked up. I had to swallow and kind of gather myself there. It was emotional.
I mean, I've gotten emotional. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten emotional. Like, usually, what usually gets me emotional now, for the most part, is older players when they have success, when you think they're done.
Right. That's what did it for me with Tiger. And, his back was broken. He'd been publicly humiliated. A lot of it he did to himself, true, but I still like to see people pick themselves back up. And, I don't think most people are not irredeemable, right? You root for them to come back. So that does it for me, too. If you're older and you got one last hurrah, one last moment in the sun, I can get choked up at watching something.
Well, and that's where I've been with it's funny with Federer, because Kim doesn't really follow sports at all. But, if you're, just like you and Christy, she'll hear you screaming at the TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, with Federer, when Djokovic came on and just started, it was like, okay. It was like 5 or 6 years ago.
It's over. Okay, it's over, yeah.
It's over. There's they had a great match, and I was cheering for Federer, and I was telling, and she was like, why are you so excited? And I was like, because this is his last chance. This is his last chance. He'll never beat this guy 2 or 3 years from now. And then they were playing again like a year or two ago, and cheering for Federer, and she's like, "Didn't you tell me he was done 4 years ago?" I was like, "Yeah, but he's really going to be done now. He's got to win this."
Well, that last one that he lost that he choked away was kind of that was devastating. Tom Lang has still not gotten over it. He crestfallen to this day. I mean, we all knew that was it. That was it, by the way. You can't lose that match because it is over.
It's on your racket, dude. It's on your racket.
Heartbreaking.
When that happened, when he was broken, trying to serve out the match, I went, "Oh no, it's not going to happen. It's over."
And it was all on him.
It was all on him. Yeah. You don't expect to see it. It's tough. They say you lose your nerve as you get older. And my man lost his nerve a little bit there. And also, real quick, a sport that you'll never care to understand.
I mean, I hate to say it because I don't, this is going to hurt your guys' feelings.
Don't say hockey. Don't even go down that road. Don't you do it. You better pick another sport.
Can't do it.
What do you mean you can't do it? Have you ever been to a live hockey game?
One time, and it was fine. And it's like, here's the thing, like, it's impressive. Like, for example, the first time I saw like grown-ups playing hockey was when FSU played Notre Dame in 2003 up there. I was walking around campus and their hockey team was practicing in their indoor whatever. Right. And I was like, holy, these guys are huge and fast. And that was college hockey players.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed by the athleticism. It's incredible that those guys are that big and that strong and that fast, and they're that agile. I have all the respect in the world for what they're doing, but it's one of those sports that I don't think you can just pick it up. Like I can't sit down. I have no idea what the hell's happening.
Here's what I would tell you.
It would take an investment of time that I'm not willing to give at this point in my life.
Right. Okay. I understand that because you're being pragmatic. If we lived in Tampa and I took you for a week's worth of games, all in succession, let's say it was a long homestand or something, and we were down on the ice for the Lightning, and you kind of began to understand what they were doing, what the strategy was, why they were doing it, you already have an appreciation for the level of athleticism. You just described it. I think you could do it. But it's fair to say you're not going to take the time in your life right now, living in where you live, covering what you do already, to go out of your way to learn the sport while watching it on television. You're not going to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where when I lived in South Florida for a little bit right before the Panthers got big, and then I left, and then I came back again, and all of a sudden all my friends were these enormous Panthers fans.
Right.
They were, and it was just like season tickets, and they talked about all the time. They're throwing the octopuses on the whatever it was they did. And they were all in. And I was just like, I felt like I came back. It was like the one time you come back from college, come back home, and you realize all your friends aren't really your buddies anymore. Like, they're all doing other things.
Yeah, right.
I was like, what is this? And so I missed that window, and since then, man, I've never gone back. But I just literally, like, I can watch a soccer match and figure out what they're doing. But because it's easier to see.
Yeah, it's
hockey,
more spaced out, yeah.
On TV, man, I'm just totally lost. So no interest, buddy. But no offense to it. It's just that's the one I'll probably never get into.
Yeah, I'll never get into anything to do with NASCAR. I can't. I can watch 2 seconds of NASCAR and it just reiterates that I hate it.
Now that's one. If from what I'm told, if you go and have a good time at the event,
it just sounds like it's the same thing as having a freaking yard party and drinking outdoors. That's all. You can do that in the front lawn with a bunch of people. Hey, reach in that cooler and hand me another one. All right.
It's a good time.
Be good, brother. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Jeff. See you.
All right, take care. That's Ira Schoffel. Warchant.com, the website. He does a very, very good job. And I was recently asked about how it was that Seminole Headlines got started. And I said, well, it all began really because Ira became a consistent guest on the Jeff Cameron Show all those years ago when he first started covering the beat. So this quarantine has left us nostalgic. We've had a chance to go back through any number of events, any number of years, special achievements, things like that of players that we cover, sports that we watch and talk about, and then also just how it was we all kind of got together to begin with.
I think if you took Ira to a playoff game, he'd be in.
Yeah, he'd be in. Well, I really think, I understand if you don't know the game, trying to pick up hockey on television, it does not translate.
Correct. You got to go see it.
It does not translate. Yeah.
But it's got to be a good game. So, the playoffs, it's a shoo-in.
Guaranteed to be a good game.
He would be converted. I think probably maybe 2 playoff games. But if it's like a sleepy October Tuesday,
probably not.
And you're down there for a booster thing, and then it's probably not going to play as well.
I'll say this. I think there are a lot of sports that we could get into if we just had the time to sit and watch them live. Like, I'm not going to go – I'm not pulling up water polo online. But anytime I've seen water polo, I'm like, this is badass.
Well, okay.
I'll concede that if it takes levels of athleticism and stamina and skill and eye-hand coordination and intensity and focus and aggression, I'm in.
Well, man, I told you, my one semester at Iona, my floor is the water polo floor. The amount of food those people consumed every day.
They burn so many calories.
And how rail thin they were, other than the immense muscle. Like, they were strong as could be from head to toe. And it was both the women's and men's players on our floor. They put them with the honors people at Iona. It was a very interesting mix.
It's a weird thing.
It's a weird social experiment. But I will say, maybe an appeal to the people. This is a sport that's near and dear to your heart. If there is a library somewhere that we can access, I'd love to learn Australian rules football.
It's incredible.
But could I watch like a season or a playoff or a tournament or something along those lines?
You need to watch a season to figure it out, yeah.
But where can I do so in a way that it doesn't spoil what I'm about to watch? So it's almost like experiencing a season of a television show without knowing where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to watch a great match in Aussie rules football history in which it says, well, here is Sydney's or Melbourne's 5th title. Well, I know who wins. I don't care at that point. Where can I have a little bit of drama while I'm learning along the way?
I think, my brother lived in Australia for 3 years, and he got so into it. He said it was incredible. He said it was just like what you see on NFL Sundays. Everybody go into the stadium, tailgate, whole deal. It's loud. The fans are into it. It's got more of a soccer feel because of the chanting that goes on and all of that. But he said if you move to Australia, it doesn't take long for you to become a huge fan of the AFL, as they call it. The AFL, there's AFL Townsville, AFL Claims, AFL Mackay. That's all in Queensland. Then you go to the other territories, and there's Broken Hill Football League and Big Rivers Australian Football, and it's all throughout the continent. So it's to me, I could see where we would be addicted to it, but I also think that probably what you would end up doing is clicking on one of the websites that covers Australian rules football and finding out the on-demand aspect of that. Right. I'm sure you could do that.
Well, is there somebody who could make it more efficient by pointing me to it and then maybe to the page where it says week 1 games? Like, think about ESPN, not ESPN Plus, but watch ESPN, right? Like, they have the on-demand section, and you could do it and sort it by day. Is it the most convenient thing? No. But, you could do it chronologically if you wanted to do it on ESPN.com. Is there an Aussie Rules site that I can just go to whatever their season is? I don't know when they play. The spring, the summer, the fall, I don't know. But you go to the first game of the season. I'm going to pick a team and watch it through the entirety of the year and learn the game. I think that'd be a fun project.
You're like, okay, I'm going to pick the Sydney Swans. Is
that their name?
Yeah, there is a Sydney Swans. There's a Richmond Football Club. There's a Hawthorn Football Club. There's a St. Kilda Football Club. You can go through all this and find the official websites for all these guys.
Got to pick a good mascot.
I'll call my brother tonight and ask him who he was that he became a fan of and who he saw the most of and best way to go about learning it. Because he was all in. Once he got there and they were going to be living there for a long period of time, it was he and his wife and his kids were really young. And he is a sporting nut, as is all of my family. And so he had to get into whatever was local and enjoy it. And he's been known to tilt a couple with the locals and have some fun. So he was going to go do that every Sunday. They were going to do it like you would in NFL league.
So it's Sundays over there as well?
I think so, yeah. And he had a blast. And he said it was incredible. You just get into it. And you start to learn the game and you begin to understand why a player is a good player or why he's not, or aspects of what they do strategy-wise, if a team is – more equipped to attack and all that sort of thing. So I'm fascinated.
I get the feeling that, we're going to be into May and looking for some stuff. And this feels like a great new experience to fill the void.
Yeah, I think they play in our summertime, so it's their wintertime. I think that's how that works. I'm fairly certain. But I'll ask John tonight.
Bad idea to pair that with baseball when we get back to normal
Lock
times.
it in. Goodness gracious. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Tallahassee's tastiest jumbo wings are back in force. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open daily from 4 to 9 p.m. for all your takeout needs. Enjoy an all-day, everyday special of 10 wings and a basket of fries for just $10. Plus, have the Corner Pocket make you a signature to-go beer or liquor beverage as well. Red Russians, anybody? Just call 574-2724 for your wing order today. That's 574-2724 for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Or to stop by and order in person, please use the outdoor deck. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Lane's Medical Shop has all of your home medical needs. They carry home oxygen, hospital beds, nebulizers, walkers, wheelchairs, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and all sleep apnea supplies. Lane's also has a weight loss clinic in-house, no appointment necessary, including B12 injections and any prescriptions necessary with the lowest prices around, and delivers to Tallahassee in South Georgia. Located only 40 miles from Tallahassee, go see Blake today, 210 West Main Street, Colquitt, Georgia, 229-758-9111.
Golic and Wingo.
Wait, here's a real question. How often do you guys wash your sheets?
You're supposed to wash your sheets?
Like, that's my thought. It's like
That's terrifying.
Mine's like once every few months, hopefully.
Yeah, I think we wash our sheets like a couple times a week.
A couple times a week?
Yeah.
A couple times a week. Like in the same week, you would wash your sheets multiple times. Now, I know you're not doing it.
No, but sometimes we collectively do that.
I got into a heated debate with a bunch of people in a group chat about that, so I was curious.
How long it happens or how often it should happen?
How often I want to know how often in real life people wash their sheets. So at Golic and Wingo, how often do you wash your sheets?
Now I need to know what were the hot takes in this text stream. Like, what were the
Some people wash them weekly. Others of us who live in normal life hopefully wash them every couple of months.
I got a couple of months. I would venture to say we wash them once a week or once every 2 weeks. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds. Once every 2 months?
Maybe. I got a nice quarterly washing.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Medical experts think we're on the cusp of a tough stretch, a couple days, maybe a week. They'll try to brace you with that information by saying this could be the toughest week yet for, say, the state of Louisiana. If it's for the country, they'll tell you that too. Like, you're going to see a spike in deaths this week. The data's trailing, we're probably going to get some negative reports, and it could be tough on people. So they try to get you prepared. Same thing they do if there's good news. They'll let you know, hey, look, probably things are going to look real good this week. We caution you not to get too overly optimistic. These things come in waves, and we've got this and this and this. Well, I feel like using that same premise that while the CBS broadcast, rebroadcasting of the Masters and the culminating with the Tiger Woods commentary yesterday was a really good idea and a great thing and something that they can use moving forward, I think we hit rock bottom. I think we're on the cusp of hitting rock bottom with programming at ESPN. I think this week revealed we've really hit a tough patch here, guys. And you need to brace yourself because predictably the horse broadcast was the dumbest thing that's ever been put on television. But it only usurps a previous broadcast or an earlier broadcast in the day of NBA players playing each other in NBA 2K. They really don't have anything to show us.
They call that the meta-finals, right?
It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest damn thing to watch those guys they show those guys on their respective gaming console. Go through the options. Who you taking, man? I don't know. They show them flipping through all the teams. I think I'm going to either take the Mavs or the Lakers. Okay. Well, and we're watching this. And then there's another guy. He's like, oh, I think I'm going to take the Clippers. Oh, you're going to take the Clippers? Huh? Well, maybe I'll take the Lakers then. Oh, you should take the Lakers. And they're just scrolling through the teams. I'm like, this is we've spent 4 minutes of two dudes talking like it's like if you and I were drinking a beer and I had your gaming code or whatever, and you're at your house and I'm at mine, and we're like, who you want to play?
That's my gamer tag. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? It's ridiculous. Are there people watching that? Surely not.
Why don't we do a Twitch, right?
What's a Twitch?
Well, that's the streaming of
the
Twitter?
Game.
Of the game.
Of the game.
Right? We could do a stream. I'll get the show. We could play the show.
Oh, you're not going to get a hit.
And we will bet real money on the game. Let's do it.
Talk about what is said. Yeah. Sure. Let's let that play out. That'll be colorful. Especially our commentary on the guy that's next at bat. If we don't like him.
Oh, God. I'll be with my own guys.
Yeah. I do it with my own guys,
Here'd
too.
be a strikeout. Good thing I'm controlling the helm here.
This would be a 3-pitch strikeout, guys, if this is the real world. Yeah, it was something. I thought, oh, no, we really have hit some hard times. And we knew they were coming. There's only so much you can show in the way of old games. There's only so many different broadcasts that you can go back in time and kind of relive. You got 24 hours in a day. A lot of days are passing by without live sports being played. But, oh, my goodness gracious, that is really something. That the horse and the broadcast of players playing each other in NBA or FIFA or any of that stuff, unwatchable garbage.
So when this whole thing is over, maybe you can grab, because he's a friend of yours, Mark Jones, who is running the studio.
A friend of mine is a bit much. I know Mark, yes.
You said you guys are friendly. Okay,
we're
maybe you're
friendly. I don't hang out with Mark Jones, but I know him, yes.
Okay. But it's good enough that if you text him and be like, oh, yeah, we did the dunk contest.
Yeah, we did the dunk contest together at FSU.
The Jam with Ham.
And I've talked to him a couple times, yes.
Those things should get more fun as time goes along, yes. I mean, our program's only getting better and better.
We've got more and more guys that can do some amazing things in terms of dunks.
Typically do it the Friday before a football game. I think we can do better than we have. But Mark Jones, when it's all said and done, you could ask him, do you understand what it's like now to be a flight attendant? Because you have to smile through that whole travesty, as you know it's breaking down around you.
Awful.
You're beholden to a WNBA or NBA player's Skype connection or FaceTime connection, which is going to crash because they're outside. And you just have to say, wow, what an incredible one-legged turnaround jumper that you've hit for the 6th time.
It was terrible. It was uncomfortable. That's one thing you never want. You never want to watch a broadcast that makes you uncomfortable, where you're embarrassed for them. You're embarrassed for the depths to which they've had to reach. And you know it's not necessarily anybody's fault, save for the person that gave the go-ahead on this. They're trying. Mark Jones is doing what he can do, but it ain't much. And I would hate to be him.
Well, it also looks like he's in a hotel,
He's
like
somewhere
little suite
where
area.
I don't where. Yeah,
like where they have like the small refrigerator and
know what
the
they're
Keurig.
doing. It's
Because it's like that little inlet thing, and they put a couple of random jerseys behind them.
It's just awful. He's in Orlando by his house at the Holiday Inn. It's just the
That's
whole thing. I mean, it's not.
It's the area between the room and the bathroom. That's where he
It's
is.
just not what we do. All of that was a disaster. They got crushed for it. It's not surprising. I understand you got to take chances, but on the surface, if I were in a meeting, and again, there are people who understand this process and how to garner ratings and package elements and all of that. They know those things better than I do. I do what I do. They do what they do. But it seems to me that somebody in that meeting would have said, you want a televised horse. And somebody else wouldn't have gone, yeah, what are we doing here, guys? He's got a point. That's just, now that he said it out loud. And they're not even in the same location, right, guys? Right. No, but don't worry about it. We've got cameras set up. And then Mark, we called Mark in. Got to put him to work. He's on the payroll. And he's going to, what? No, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Just rerun The Natural or something. Whatever you got to do.
If you're going to do something like that, here's one small idea. You could do a poker game, right? And then the money in the poker game goes to whatever charity. But you have LeBron and Michael Jordan going head-to-head in a poker game. Two people that are petty. You need petty people in these moments.
Ultra combative, ultra competitive, ultra petty. Bring them together. Let them go. They care a lot about beating the other in poker. And you'll sense the uncomfortable nature of them sitting at that table.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have Tiger, Barkley, Jordan,
Sure. Yeah.
LeBron,
Jerry Rice.
Ugh. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. People who would take it very, very seriously.
Oh, yeah. No, get every red ass. Oh, well, shoot, my man.
Phil Rivers?
Phil Rivers out there.
Does he gamble, though? He's weird.
No. If by weird you mean over-the-top religious,
well, I mean,
he doesn't. I don't think he does.
Cromartie are like in an arms race.
Well, for offspring. That would be the kids' thing. Yeah, no, I don't think he does. Well, I can't know that, though. I just know he was here at the TLC Double C watching FSU basketball
Everybody
randomly.
is these days. Bill Murray, Phil Rivers.
It's nuts. It is. It's crazy. We got to know these things. We got to get a heads up when they come to town so we can have them on. Well, yes, that would be better than horse. That would be better than horse. It was, and I could tell. I purposely this morning, partly because I wanted to hear a little bit of draft build-up. We're getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. I've got something on that in a second. But I wanted to hear what was Mike Greenberg going to do because he's a company guy. And he's a company man through and through in that he's invested in the company. He's got major say in a lot of things that go on in addition to being, quote-unquote, one of the talents. And in fairness, I tease him. He is talented. He can do a lot of things as a host. He's fine. But I knew that they were going to ask him to have to do an entire segment today on that horse. And he had to do it straight-faced. And I know that's got to kill him. He knows that was crap. He knows that was an embarrassment to broadcasting, and yet he's got to wear that smile and pretend like it was interesting and try to engage those on the panel about the horse.
Right. Yeah. How did that conference call go?
Oh,
you know, he's like, "Well, I guess I just got to call Daniel Day-Lewis and figure out how to lie through this."
That's what he would say. Yeah, that's exactly what he would say. I think he did.
At ESPN Greeny on Twitter.
Yeah. Now that was something. I was like, oh boy. Good luck with that. Luckily, they didn't spend as much time. They went into 38 minutes straight on whether or not you should draft Tua.
Here's a question. Would you watch Tiger versus Phil or, you get some players, right? And they're on a simulator. They're in like the flight track simulator where those things are, pretty precise.
They're pretty close to accurate.
Yeah. Would you watch Golf Channel putting that together?
Because they're physically having to shape shots still. They're still having to adjust to the wind conditions.
It'd basically be long drives and closest to the pin competitions because the putting you can't
really
simulate.
Can't simulate, yeah.
But like a CTP, right? And
I think I would briefly. I don't know. I don't know that I could watch it for too long. Hitting into the net and hitting into the screen.
Yeah. Because then you'd have it's kind of like the sensation of watching Shot Tracer in tennis. It's like he hits it and you're like, oh.
I love hitting those things, though. When going into a simulator, they are fun as hell. I mean, to watch your ball flight and all that.
If I could get a really good one set up, like
at the
in
house
and out for under about, I don't know,
$2,000.
Yep. There's the number.
Yeah, that's the number. Yeah, I've thought of it. That's why I know
my
the
garage
number.
would become the studio.
It would.
You want to go halvesies on it? We're working together every day anyway.
I would go halvesies with you. It's got to be a good, legit setup now.
Yeah,
that garage got to be clean, ready to go. We got to have the beer cooler. Let's go. Let's get it on.
Need a giant fan too, because it's gonna get hot.
It's gonna get hot in there. Got to have a fan. Oh, we could go to war. That'd be fun.
That's a project now.
It's something to think about. Yeah, I'm with you.
Does a sponsor want to help us build it?
I'm investing. If you guys, there you go. Somebody who sets up electronics for people,
We already interact. Either we're both going to get it or we're not.
Yeah, no, we're going to do it. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. Come on down. Let's get signed up. We'll tell everybody how great you are. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpa's, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, bring your own PIN to sign the receipt, and they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang.
It's time to unite Tallahassee. After years of our great local restaurants serving us, it's our turn to serve them. With this simple purchase of gift cards, we can help them survive the financial toll of COVID-19. Buy them for yourself, your family, or as gifts. No doubt we'll all have a reason to go out and celebrate soon as we safely can. Go to hungertohelp.com and show your support for the heart of our community today. This message brought to you in part by your local Tallahassee radio broadcasters.
Seminole headlines.
Kenny Chesney did go to East Tennessee State.
No kidding.
I'm all over it, buddy.
Studied advertising.
Look at me.
Was there in 1990. That's when he graduated.
Okay, obviously his life is good. Sitting on the porch or sitting on the beach, like when he's 70. I mean, is he gonna look back and be proud of like?
You talking about Kenny Chesney?
Yeah, his musical career, like what the music, the art he brought to the world.
So you think he'll feel guilty for stealing Jimmy Buffett's thing?
I'm just asking,
and then
putting a twang
mimicking
to
it.
But my question, I'm not saying it's.
I don't think he'll feel that guilty.
Will there be a pride? I'm not saying guilty, but like, will he be filled with pride? Like,
not the way a real artist.
I think Van Morrison or they're like feeling good about what they contributed to
humanity.
Society.
Yes, I did something that elevated us as a species.
Like, I'm wondering
if Kenny Chesney cannot say that.
But I'm wondering if he thinks he did, is what I'm asking.
I hope not. Like, if Jimmy Buffett knew he was garbage and just admitted
catchy tunes
and was like, I have a knack for writing these things.
I put the theme music to parties for
I that's what I do.
White people.
I'm not writing anything of any significance, but I did. Yeah. I created an element
songs.
that people. They're fun songs.
Fun time.
There's a place for that. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as he accepts that, and
correct.
He knows that.
As long as he doesn't think he's Bob Dylan,
exactly.
Then I'm fine.
And I feel like Jimmy Buffett does. I wonder.
I think he does too.
Is he my tractor sexy guy?
I have no idea.
I think he's a
Pepsi commercial.
Don't act like you don't know.
They're all Pepsi commercials.
It was Kenny Chesney with She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy.
So do you think when he pinned that he thought...
Did he even write it?
Probably not. But do you think that if he wrote it, he thought,
Holy
This is right
moly.
up there.
He did not. He
Blowing
did not,
in the wind.
He did not write
He
it.
did not write it.
Yeah.
No. But he put his personal touch to it.
I'm sure. The one that he stole from
It's
Jimmy
the 20th
Buffett.
anniversary of that tune, that fine ditty.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, you knew
1999.
that, Jeff. We were just talking about it the other day at lunch.
I was like, can you believe it's been 20 years since the
my
masterpiece
sexy tractor.
She thinks
I
my
remember like it
tractor's
was
sexy.
yesterday.
Whatever it is.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It
Once
really
a week, I
turns
go
me
into a
on.
dark room
Oh, it really
and I
turns her
sit
on.
back and listen to the lyrics of that classic.
Yeah.
She's always staring
That's like
at
the
me
blowing in the wind of the
Yeah.
90s.
when
Yeah.
I'm chugging along.
Yeah.
It's like The Weight.
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like The Weight. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Tuesday night on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Off the segment. That's the kind of greatness you get on the Jeff Cameron Show. So goodbye XFL. Grand opening, grand closing. Sucks for them. They were all geared up, and then this thing happened. In a weird way, my prediction comes true. The XFL didn't last very long. I hesitate to take credit for that. But I actually am sad only from this standpoint. Read an article over the weekend and then saw something else referencing it this morning. I think it was Monday Morning Quarterback. And that is that the sad part of that is that the XFL and startup leagues oftentimes really aid the NFL in their efforts to get things right because they have to embrace radical rule changes and ideas regarding the telecast and the television broadcast. And the XFL had brought a lot of new things and new ideas to the table. The NFL, generally speaking, likes to watch an entire season play out with these experiments to see what worked and what didn't, what really the fans responded to and embraced and would make for an easy transition if they adopted, I should say, that into the National Football League. And one of the things, for example, that the XFL did that I think would really, really work is the kickoff rule to eliminate injury. That seemed like something that the NFL would likely want to embrace and may still. But the number one thing, in my opinion, and there were a whole host of rules changes, but no coaches' challenges. In the XFL, coaches were not allowed to challenge calls. All challenges came from the replay booth, independent, who watched every play and could buzz down if they saw something glaring that needed a review. And it had less to do with was that interference or not interference, which, by the way, the NFL is getting rid of the coach's ability to challenge interference, which we knew they would after one mockery of a season doing that.
The Bucs have now saved at minimum 16 timeouts in the upcoming season.
But the ability for, and we have been, Tom Lang and myself have been championing this for a long time. It just makes sense, and it's so easy. And I've never understood it. You can't tell me that it's not possible. And the XFL was going to show you that it was possible. You got one dude. They do it in other sports leagues. You got one dude or 8 dudes, however many you do, in the middle of the for lack of a better term, the replay center in New York. They got the games on. They're watching the games. That dude didn't catch that. That's a drop. They called that a catch. Buzz down to Harry in the New York game. That's a drop. And we go. And the way that runs is so simple because there's a time limit on it. If you don't know after 1 minute, then you're never going to know. Let's move on. Let's go. You run the risk that maybe there was some other angle that if we waited around for another 4 minutes to figure it out, we'd see definitively. But I don't care. I don't care enough. To ruin the flow of the game, give me 3 or 4 good angles and say, what do we got here, guys? Catch, no catch? All right, let's move it along here. That's the end of it. And they were doing that in the XFL, where a guy would buzz down and say, that was a fumble.
Well, the one thing I don't understand is why does the replay official need to be in the stadium? And I know what you're talking about, centralized command, but I mean, you also need somebody.
The NBA, by the way, has a centralized command. The NHL does as well.
The NHL, Toronto. Yeah. MLB does. New York, they have the umpire crew rotating.
Yeah.
So, like, the actual on-field officials, the
go
MLB
into
umpires,
the centralized command.
They work a week in New York.
What's the problem here?
Right. But my whole thing is just you got to be careful, too. You got to make sure that somebody is physically on the ground on site, but you should have them in the TV truck. Why are they in the press box taking up a seat? That doesn't make any damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in the truck where they can actually, instead of having a radio down, they can talk to the person directly in the room and say, I love camera 6. Let me see that one more time, and let's send it up to command. Because if the game's on delay, even by a few seconds, and somebody's trying to run up to the
hurry up,
line of scrimmage and hurry up, you can't have that.
You can't, but I just think it's a lot less complicated than the NFL would have you believe over the years, because they get asked this question all the time, and they seem dumbfounded at how it is that we can't understand the complexities. Look, man, other leagues do it.
Right. Well, what I'm saying too is, like, why is there this idea that the replay system has to be visible to people in the stadium?
Conspiracy theories. That's why. They're really worried that somebody's on the take, and the less visible they are.
But that would be like ShotSpot, our favorite example in tennis.
Right.
Like, the dude on the computers is sitting on the court, like at the net line, right next to the chair of the umpire. You need to see that he's watching it. Like, that's really immaterial. And even still, like, they want you to know, but then they don't. The guy looks like he's from Deal or No Deal, and he's got a silhouette, and it's always a crappy camera angle. You can barely see the top of his head.
Right.
Like, there's Rich Smith. He's been in the NFL for 7 years as a replay official. Just have him sit in the damn truck with the people who know how to switch things fast instead of doing it like the NBA does. They have central command.
Mm-hmm.
But you have officials looking at a 12-inch monitor with glare from the damn scoreboard that's
I
changing
always think
an ad.
that's stupid, yeah.
Let the people sit next to the professionals who can get you a replay like that.
Well, this is the stuff that we'll lose. The ability to see something work that's more pragmatic, that uses common sense, that they're efforting aggressively to pursue a new way because they want to stand out from the NFL, all the while knowing that the NFL is going to steal their idea if it works, which is fine. I mean, that's how we got 2-point conversions in the NFL. I mean, these things happen where progress is made, a league shows it can be done, their process is put into play, the NFL, that's how you do it. And then they do it, and we go from there. So we're going to miss out on some of these things. There were also some goofy things about the XFL. Of course, there were 5 tries from the 5, all this stuff that you get for extra points, that there were no extra points, all of that sort of thing. I got that. But the more radical stuff I don't care about. The more pragmatic stuff, yeah, man, replay is a big deal because it's ruining the game.
Yeah. Well, and another thing they did that was great is they opened up the line of communication. You could hear what the referee was saying to the official who was looking at the replays. And that helps with transparency, doesn't it? If it's all on the record for everybody to hear. Like, the official says, sorry, I need to see that one again. And the guy was holding like an Xbox controller. Remember that? He was queuing up the thing himself.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. I mean, I wasn't going to watch those games. I tried to watch the Tampa team, the Vipers, there for like about 5 minutes, that game they lost to New York. Quarterback play was so bad that I'm not watching this. This is terrible.
What do you think about the rule that really discourages punters from coffin cornering punts out of bounds?
So I like the rule. They're trying to encourage punt returns. They want punt returns. If you punted it out of bounds, it's their ball on the 35-yard line.
Right, like you do that for kickoffs. Why have punts been allowed? These are the fundamental questions you're talking about that you have to revisit. Like, punt was allowed to do that because
they were emphasizing the skill set of a punter. I mean, not everybody can do that. Not everybody is talented enough to consistently be able to pin somebody inside the 5. That takes skill.
A kicker on it, even if you didn't have the tee and you had somebody holding it without a tee, that's still the same thing. If you have a kicker trying to kick it out of bounds at the 5-yard line from, after a touchdown,
I think they wanted kickoffs to start a game. They wanted people to return kicks, I guess. This was before they realized how dangerous the play was because of the buildup and how much running start the kickoff teams got.
How about this rule? If a punt bounces and goes out of bounds, you're good to go because that means that you kicked it away from the returner, but it cannot do so on the fly. Or else it's the 35-yard line.
Well, that's fine, but we've got to fix the big stuff, Tom. I'm not worried about
That's a big one.
I want the big ones to be fixed. I need that to be fixed. By the way, Detroit is shopping the number 3 pick. Rumor has it Tampa Bay, Denver, and Atlanta are interested.
We are interested.
Tampa Bay, like Denver and like Atlanta, all are jockeying for position to take the best offensive lineman available, and they think that guy is going to go somewhere around 3 or 4.
Ooh, man. I feel like 3 is a little high there.
If you got a guy that
they want Becton? Is that what they want? Because he ran a good 40?
I don't know what they want, but they listen, that's a rumor, but that's pretty persistent that those would be the 3 teams interested maybe in moving up. Now, I don't know about moving all the way up to 3, but the thought process is that the movers and shakers in this draft could be, in terms of wanting to move up, if Detroit is shopping the 3 pick, are Atlanta, Denver, and Tampa Bay.
Wow. It never made sense to me that Okudah is going at 3.
No.
Given, there's a lot of positions in need.
Yeah.
So that tells you that Detroit maybe is just very much in the business.
Detroit wants to trade down and get Simmons, perhaps.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I get why they would want to get some more picks and move down. That would make sense. I don't know about Tampa Bay moving way up there. If you're going to go way up there, then take the best receiver on the board.
In general, I agree with aggressive moves at this point because you're going trying
to win the whole damn thing. You better be aggressive.
Yeah,
I would too. That's the mindset you better have going in this draft. You've already decided.
Right. It's not the one I would have decided, but since we're here,
now
this is what you got to do.
Now we got to go get what we got to get. Yeah, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Every day you're going to want to pay with a credit card. Bring your own PIN to sign the receipt, and they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers, too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead, too. But those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Golic and Wingo.
Through May and June, OTAs, minicamps, those are probably not going to happen. And sooner than that, you're talking college football, because that starts earlier. I don't think people have wanted to really grasp the thought as, well, okay, this will all be over with by the summer, and in the fall we get back to normal. Hope. No, I'm saying that's a normal. The thought was, I think now it's like, oh man, okay, is football going to be back? I really think it's starting to creep into people's mind.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. ESPN Tallahassee, in the palm of your hand.
So long, suckers!
The all-new WTSM app. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Here for you. Tom is too. We're both here for you. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you get to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. But hey, if you do, we'll post all 3 hours of today's program, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. If you pull up the YouTube feed, you'll be able to listen to the audio but not see the video. You can email us if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameronShow. There you go. You know, Tom, I have been more frugal, I think, like a lot of people, during this uncertain time, stressful time. People tend to want to save their money, don't know what's coming next. Got to be very careful. Pay the bills you can pay and do the best job you can and try to help out your local businesses as best you can. We kind of see that if you're in a position to be able to do it as your civic duty, right, to get out there and help out these restaurants that are really hurting right about now. And I'm trying to do that. I know you are too, but it's different for everybody, and I certainly understand that. But it's also giving you a lot of free time to research things that you've always been interested in, and then that kind of sent me down a rabbit hole. This is our age difference. Do you recall maybe your father had one? I'm not sure. Maybe an older sister had one.
An abacus?
No. Do you remember, were they big still in your youth, receivers? Like a Marantz stereo receiver, a big portable, like a big unit, like a receiver. Well, hey now. Yeah, like a receiver, a Marantz stereo. Well, I'm using Marantz because that's something that looked like that. You remember those?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, we had one in our study. Yeah.
Okay. So I keep saying Marantz because that's what I want. That's what I want. That's my childhood. Those Marantz stereo receivers are outstanding. I remember the 2270 model. There are a lot of different models.
Wow, what a flashback. Because as a kid, I would just watch the needle. I'd watch the needle go up and down.
That's right. It was the best. Well, and they had the selector and the bass and the mid and the treble and the balance. Remember all that?
Right. Yeah, it used to make me laugh when I would make the one, freak out by turning it up too loud. My dad would not like that.
They had the little roller for the tuner, for the FM stations.
Oh, you got to have the roller, man.
Got to have the roller.
I don't like, even in my beautiful fully loaded Altima from our friends at Kraft.
Right.
I use the tune
you like the
roll
tune,
versus,
the
preset stations.
Yeah. The tuning roller on the Marantz was where the blue numbers were, and you'd have to slide it with your finger. It goes to the right or to the left.
Mm-hmm.
You have the stereo phones, as they were known, headphones. Plug in there, right below the power button. And, boy, that was a good button. Mm-hmm. It was a good button. You just hit that thing,
double click
screen, and woo, it was just gorgeous and hummed. And then if you had a good set of speakers that it went to, obviously, big-ass ones that were set up properly, equidistant.
Oh, yeah.
And you had that, and then you if you were like me, you had a record player, and you might have an equalizer. Oh, God, an equalizer to boot. You had all that stuff, right? So, and then back then you would have perhaps a dual cassette deck to go somewhere with it. Maybe later on you added that CD player.
Yeah.
And then you had it all going on.
With 3 girls who were in high school, we needed the CD player, and we got my parents really, broke the bank. They got the 6 CD changer, the one that was flat, and it would just be this big rotary.
It was a big to do.
Oh, yeah.
You hear it going, the carousel. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been researching Marantz receivers because this is the kind of time I have on my hands now, and you can get ones that are in mint condition. People have them all over the country. Thinking about ordering one.
How much is it? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's there. But you get one of those, and then you build your masterpiece. You got your system, man. You got your speakers, and then you actively engage in listening. You're now back listening to music and albums from start to finish and concept records at that, the way they were meant to be listened with 2 separate sides and everything else. And so that I'm worried about. That's where my mind's going, just so you know, on a Monday. My head's been going down that. If you're local and you have a Marantz in mint condition, and you're not wanting to charge me $2,000, we can talk. But I found a Marantz out in L.A. that I like for $852, and I may get it, Tom. But the thing about it is, I know that's irresponsible. It's just irresponsible. So I went from being very frugal, very smart with my money, very, very careful to make sure that the most important bills are paid, and certainly that everybody is stocked with food and we're good to go. And if we're in this pinch even longer, that I'll have enough. But that stereo system's calling me. It just is. And I have all the time in the world when I leave the studios at night, because my son normally would be playing baseball and I'd be at those games, and they've been canceled. I'd be watching live sports some way, somehow, preparing for tomorrow's show, working in the time with the wife and all of that around these other events, my son's basketball games or whatever they might be. All that's gone. And you go down the rabbit hole of, I wonder what those old receivers are costing these days. Wonder if I could find one on eBay.
I think if you were going to use those dollars, they would be better served to get the flight scope, the golf technology. Let's prioritize.
Think about that a little bit more.
That first. Yes, right. Absolutely.
I like it. By the way, the draft is not too far away, and for that, I am excited. It is the one piece of legitimate news that you get, is constant updates about what teams are thinking in terms of the draft, who's trading down, who's trading up, what the possibilities are. In that sense, I like that the NFL has been unwavering in their efforts to move forward with the draft and everything else to be right on time. We predicted correctly a while back that the NFL would do everything in their power, and I think that's true. And, we've talked some today about the different timelines that we could see with all of the sports and what's real and what's not. But one thing certainly stands out, and that is that college sports and pro sports are just, we already knew it, but a very different animal, and the considerations in the two leagues, if you will, or sports, if you will, are very different. It does appear that we're going to get a drastically altered timeline for college sports, but I think more and more we're going to get some sort of, if you're looking for a respite, if you're looking for something to save the day, you're going to start getting some dates thrown around and some plans that give you hope, that give rise to hope for professional sports. And that's some of what we've all been kind of talking about over really the last 5 days.
It just seems like across the board for all sports, college and pro alike. This is one place where they're similar. The next month to 6 weeks.
It's real critical.
I mean, they're massive. Just massive. Whether that's a development in treatment, a development in the availability of testing, just a timeline projection from our scientists as they're given more and more data.
More data, yeah.
To say a second wave is or is not coming, and if yes, when. And you could pinpoint that within, a week or two for most of the country. I mean, like all of these things that you've got to consider. But I think the pragmatic goal for all of us as people who want to see sports, you got to have more testing. We need it in droves.
Well, really quick too. You need to know. You need the results of those tests to be pretty quick.
Yes. Convenient testing, yes. And you hope for a breakthrough in some sort of combo treatment. I mean, if a vaccine, according to all the experts, especially domestically, say that it's only, it's at least 12 months, if not 18 months away, you've got to find something else to take the bite out of what COVID can do to you. And if you can limit that, then you're in business. But this next month to 6 weeks is just so huge for every single one of those sports.
Can you do a handstand?
Can I do a handstand?
Can you do? The answer is probably no, and there's no shame in that. I can't do a handstand.
I even had a hard time when I was a kid doing a handstand, but I could for a brief period.
And if you work on it, you're stabilizing muscles. Eventually, you get to where you can do it. It's not easy. But I don't know if you saw Simone Biles do the handstand challenge thing. Have you seen this thing? So Jake Gyllenhaal and all these other people do these challenges. This is what we got these days, Tom. That's what we got.
Oh, it's like they're singing Imagine to us, yeah.
Well, this is better than that. Because it's actually kind of cool if you could do it. I wish I could do it, but it's pretty damn funny when you see somebody take it to a whole new level, which is Simone Biles, who is able to take off, and she's wearing, like athletic gear underneath. She can stand on her, she can do the handstand and take off her pants with her feet.
Oh, that's wild.
It's remarkable. Go find it. It's worth your time. It's 2 minutes. She holds herself up the entire time, strong as an ox, and just takes her feet and undoes her pants while upside down the whole time. It doesn't even look like she's about to fall.
It is family friendly.
It is totally family friendly. Yes. No. It's all good to go. Other people do this thing where they are able to take off their shirt and like kind of shimmy in such a way while they do the handstand that their shirt comes off. And then she took it to a whole new level. Like, I'll take off my pants. I can hang upside down and take off my pants while I do it. It's unreal. I just wish I could do it. I marvel at her strength.
Can you take off your pants while you're doing a handstand?
It's just cool to see.
I can.
I would like to be able to do it. It's a dumbass skill. So in addition to the stereo receiver that I want to start working on the ability to take off my pants.
That's a 1-2 punch.
While doing a handstand. I want to be able to do it. We're desperately sad, folks. That's where we ended up. It's a bunch of rewatching. I don't know what this week is going to be like. Lots of conversations that are broad in scope.
Would you like a bit of good news?
Sure, I'd love it. Yeah.
Okay. Anecdotally, and I'm hoping that this is the case more than just my experience, but one of my favorite restaurants here in town that I go to, I'm worried about it because I just don't know where the business is going to come from right now. But I go there every Friday. I get takeout from there every Friday. And this week, you couldn't barely have enough space in this main square outside of it for all the people waiting for food. And I thought, oh, my goodness.
That's really good news.
Look how many people are waiting to get food from this. I mean, it's been a cornerstone business in town for decades. So I'm really glad to see that.
Well, I'll tell you, I saw something similar on Saturday that made me feel very good. Last time that I was stockpiling food at the grocery store, you kind of try to gather it all at once so you don't have to make frequent trips and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm a big seafood guy, so I got shrimp and I got different fish fillets that I wanted, and so I had planned this grand grilling feast for me and the family over the weekend. And I asked them, do you want me to do that on Saturday, or do you want me to do that on Easter Sunday? How do you want me to do this? And they said, well, save all the seafood and and I got those big giant ocean shrimp that look like mini lobsters, and I had it all. They said, save that for Sunday. Let's do something different for Saturday. And it was going to be movie night and game night on Saturday and all that. So I said, okay, I'll go to Gordo's. Packed to the gills outside for takeout. Same thing. Made me smile, buddy. That's a good thing, and I thank all the people that are doing that. That's good news. We need all of the diversity of restaurants, all of them, wherever they are. I just happened to pick that one that day.
It was so crowded that it was, you're getting uncomfortable. You're like, oh, this is too many people. And that's a great problem. That's a great problem to have. And I just hope that continues. If you have it to spend, I think people understand that they need to. But for me, it's, in the budget the way it is now, looks like takeout once or twice a week. But just keep going, people. Keep supporting. Hopefully we can get through it and laugh about it one day.
Well, there's certainly that talking point, Tom. I have spent plenty of time informing my kids. You can't know it right now. That perspective is hard to gain. Only time does it for you. But take it from somebody who's old enough to know that these moments, these oddities that arise in our lifetime that challenge you in different ways are things that you hold on to and remember. Well, and again, some of it's tragedy, like remembering 9/11 or whatever it might be. I brought up the energy crisis in my youth when I was 8 years old, and I can still remember exactly certain elements of that and what that made people do or were forced to kind of alter their plans. And I was telling Bryson Clark, you're going to remember this forever. But the thing for you to remember right now is you'll be telling these stories when you're my age and I'm long since past, and you'll chuckle about it. There'll be anecdotes. There'll be things that you learned out of this. This will be a historical occasion that you can look back on and say, you know what was born out of that? and any number of advancements in science and medical technology and great art and all of these things that will be born out of
Have
this.
you read the long piece? Is New York Times, so I know cringe, but this is on a non-political subject. Well, given the Jameis thing and the way that went,
I was just say they do a pretty good job by and large.
By and large, I agree. On Disney and what they're looking at, because they're getting hit on all fronts. Cruise empire, theme parks, movie and TV production.
So weird you brought that up. I have not read this article, and I'm excited to do so because I brought that up yesterday to Christy on a walk, one of our 15 walks we took over the weekends, and I said, God, I'd be really nervous. Now, granted, they've got billions of dollars probably in reserve, but I can't imagine if you were ahead of the empire at Disney, how nervous you are right now. And I told her, think about every one of those on-site resorts, Floridian or whatever it's called, all that stuff. I started naming whatever the big animal one is, the safari. I said, empty, nothing. They still got to feed all those damn animals. They got all this stuff. I said, think about all this every day that goes by and all of those resorts and even the places like the Hilton Bonnet Creek right near there, which is so nice, which I love. I mean, empty,
all
nothing.
around downtown Disney.
Extravagant beyond reason, right? All those places.
Orlando would be livable right now.
Yeah.
For a brief time.
Nobody there.
Yeah, so I think it's nearly 100,000 employees that they furloughed between the two parks, one in Florida, obviously one out in California. But, Bob Iger has stepped back in. He just retired. He just stepped away. He's like, well, okay, I'll come back in because I've got some experience here. But they're talking about reforming the way that the theme park experience is gonna be after this is all over, with fewer employees, physical people in the theme parks, but then devices on the way in, like they're going to take your temperature before you come in.
Oh, yeah, all that stuff.
They're kicking around all these ways that your experience of getting into the parking lot and entering the theme park is going to be fundamentally different forevermore.
Can I just get on the ride in a reasonable amount of time? Can we work one out?
Can we set an appointment?
Yeah.
Like more than a fast pass appointment. Can we set an appointment?
I want to be on the ride at this time, and I don't want to wait forever and a day.
There's also crowd control. There's like a max that's much lower than we have right now.
Much lower than what we have, and a weight limit. We need a weight limit in this country. If you're over 300 pounds and you're on the scooter, sorry, lose weight.
Well, you need two weight limits, time and poundage.
Do you meet the poundage threshold? I can't say the joke I was about to make. That would have been bad.
You don't get to the front of the line, sir or ma'am, for something that was within your control at one point in your life.
Correct. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Where do we go from here?
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Right now, you can get family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Gordo's North Side. That's right, all day, every day after 4 p.m. Please pay with a credit card. Bring your own pen to sign the receipt. And they want to thank you, and so do I, for supporting your local restaurants at a time where they need it most. By the way, I'm looking at these meals. Woo. First of all, give them a call, 850-727-5914. In order of the, Tom, you want to help me out here? Because I don't think you want me doing this. Lechon Asado.
Yeah. Lechon asado.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo.
4 Cubans.
4 Cubans.
Pollo a la plancha.
Pollo a la plancha.
There you go. That's like beans and rice, right? With some plantains. Boom.
Well, the arroz con pollo is plantains and a chicken salad. Roast pork is the lechon asado.
GordosCubanFood.com. Ta-da!
It's time to unite Tallahassee. After years of our great local restaurants serving us, it's our turn to serve them. With this simple purchase of gift cards, we can help them survive the financial toll of COVID-19. Buy them for yourself, your family, or as gifts. No doubt we'll all have a reason to go out and celebrate soon as we safely can. Go to hungertohelp.com and show your support for the heart of our community today. This message brought to you in part by your local Tallahassee radio broadcasters.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
The Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, who's celebrating their 95th year in business this year, would like to recognize their newest members.
Hi, I'm Corey Melton, the Vice President of Membership, and I'm proud on behalf of the Chamber to welcome our newest members from December and January. American Cancer Society, Bath Fitter, Bob Fish Homes, Body Mechanics, Physiotherapy and Fitness, David Cannon, Realtor with Eden & Company, Express Employment Professionals, iDope, Florida Floors, Growler Country, Homes and Land of Tallahassee, Jet Medical Center, Tallahassee, Not Responsible, Lull Water at Blairstone, Move, Office Depot, Osaka Japanese Steakhouse, Puff for Less, Stacy Lee Portraits, Strayer University, Telegen, Terminix of Tallahassee, The Refinery Bar Fitness Studios, Trail and Ski, and the Waffle House.
Golic and Wingo.
Wait, here's a real question. How often do you guys wash your sheets?
You're supposed to wash your sheets?
Like, that's my thought. It's like
That's terrifying.
Mine's like once every few months, hopefully.
Yeah, I think we wash our sheets like a couple times a week.
A couple times a week?
Yeah.
A couple times a week. Like in the same week, you would wash your sheets multiple times. Now, I know you're not doing it.
No, but sometimes we collectively do that.
I got into a heated debate with a bunch of people in a group chat about that, so I was
How
curious.
long it happens or how often it should happen?
How often I want to know how often in real life people wash their sheets. So at Golic and Wingo, how often do you wash your sheets?
Now I need to know what were the hot takes in this text stream. Like what were the
Some people wash them weekly. Others of us who live in normal life hopefully wash them every couple of months.
I got a couple of months. I would venture to say we wash them once a week or once every 2 weeks.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds
once every 2 months.
Maybe. I got a nice quarterly washing.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I never watched the one on Ryan Leaf. Did you see that one?
Oh, I think I've seen only bits and pieces, not the full deal on him. No,
it's good. I didn't realize he tried to commit suicide. I also didn't realize that he was really close to death on multiple occasions.
I saw the excerpts on the locker room incident and him commenting on it, like when he flips out in the locker room.
Yeah,
but I've not seen anything about his personal life after, besides the fact he got into coaching, I think.
Well,
right?
he later on did, but he and now he does stuff for ESPN. I mean, he's come full circle here. It's an intriguing, and I think for certain people, obviously, if you've had addiction in your life or have been a part of that, family member that has been a part of that, inspiring in some ways too. It's a no-holds-barred look. I mean, when he's at his lowest of the low, and they're pointing out he got arrested twice in 48 hours, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, and his mom's there crying, and then they're talking to him about it. He basically admits to feeling worthless and thinking that he was powerless, and then talked about getting sent to prison, and how, he goes, I don't advise doing 32 months in prison, but it was what I needed, and it changed my outlook on what was, what I could do. But it's just fascinating. I would just, in times like this, we're all looking for something to watch, something that's interesting. I think ESPN's E60 series is really good. They usually do a very good job of investigative journalism, and the interviews are usually spot on, and that subject matter is intriguing. I didn't realize to the extent, obviously, if you go that high in the draft and you're an elite All-American prospect in Division I football at a Power 5 school, I remember how close, he came to winning the Heisman and what he was at Washington State. But I just didn't realize the breadth of his athleticism and domination in high school and what he was as a prospect coming out. I just remember his college days, but since he played on the West Coast, I remember the Rose Bowl. I remember some games with him. I remember the debate about, which of the quarterbacks would you take? And Ryan Leaf was a guy who's so big and so strong with such a big arm. You thought, well, that's going to translate. That's going to translate. And then the next thing you know, inexplicably, you're about a year and a half in, and you're like, he can't play. This is it. It's over. And he's having nervous breakdowns, basically, and flipping out. And I guess he's close with Rodney Harrison. He called years later after he got sober and apologized for not fulfilling his promise to be a good teammate and to work hard and do all those things. And it was pretty cool to hear Rodney Harrison said, yeah, man, when he called me and apologized, it meant the world, because we thought when we got him, we were changing the face of a franchise, that we were going to go on this great run. And then he turned out to be a nightmare. And he's like, I did everything I could to protect him. I tried awfully hard to show him the ropes, what he needed to be doing, how not to interact with the media and all that. And they showed several times Rodney Harrison kind of stepping in, like, you don't want to, let's not go here, and Leaf was too far gone to realize it. So it's a good watch.
So Clark was watching with you?
No, Bryce was.
Oh, Bryce was.
Yeah,
okay.
Bryce was watching with me. It was good for him to see it. He was like, so he kept getting arrested? I was like, yes. He goes, why didn't he stop after the first one? I said, son, it seems simple, doesn't it, son? That's the beauty of innocence, It's a 12-year-old logical kid. He's like, well, but if you take those pills and you get caught and you go to jail, why would you keep taking them, Dad? Like, indeed. But addiction's a powerful thing, son. I'm sure he would have liked to have stopped. If we continue to watch, I think you'll find that he attempted to stop several times, only to have been overcome by his addiction yet again. But he went to jail. You don't want to go to jail. Why would you do that? It's so cute. I gave him a hug. I was like, I know, buddy. Like, what do you say?
Well, thankfully, they don't send you to jail for enjoying a weekday beverage in the quarantine life. Because there'd be a lot of people going to jail right now.
Oh, boy. Just about everybody has made mention of the fact that the demons, they're all around us as we're surrounded time and again by all of this.
Is there a maintain ordinance in conjunction? Are there rules here?
Yeah, I was going to say there are no rules here. Well, for you and I, we're a little bit more fortunate, I think, in terms of trying to keep it, on the rails, because we're doing shows every day, or we aspire to do shows.
We've got a place to go. Yeah.
Yeah, we get out of the house, and we have to, listen now, the topics of the day are lacking. We don't have as many things to refer to, invest in, and talk about as we would like. But we have jobs and we have opportunities to leave the house to do show prep and to talk as we ordinarily would. I do really, regardless of jokes and all of that about how it leads you to drink, I mean, in some cases, the people that can't get out of the house, period. I mean, look, I'm going a little stir crazy, and I do get out of the house.
Yeah.
I do get to come to this studio. It's just you and me. There's nobody else here, folks, just to let you know. We're not around a ton of other people.
No, this isn't like a sweeping ESPN facility right now.
This is just Tom and me. That's it. That's the two of us, and we got soundproof glass between us and doors. Yeah,
two panes of glass.
And so, yeah, we're not risking anything here, but we come in and that's it. Do the show and do whatever production and then leave. But it's still getting out of the house. I've wondered for a while now that there's a breaking point, and it's different for everybody, and we'll see different communities, and I hope that people can hold on because clearly social distancing and staying apart is working. I mean, you're seeing the effects that it's flattening the curve. We're finding out that this does work, and obviously it would seem to me that the longer you do it, the better off we are, but I just wonder when's the breaking point. And, I was reading, I like the psychology and all this. I was reading a long article about that, and people were trying to guess about, in non-communist countries where they can force you to stay in your dwelling and or you are killed, the consequences being so much more severe.
Yeah, what country was that? In the Pacific? No, but one prime minister just said outright, like in an address that the world can see, not on closed-circuit television.
Philippines, I think.
Might have been the Philippines, yeah.
Basically, I'll kill you.
If you're out of your house, you will die.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so we don't live in that world here, thankfully, and the one doctor that I saw was speculating that you would begin to see some real fallout from this, both psychologically, but also outright defiance in about 14 weeks.
14 weeks, you say?
Yeah, it was his guess.
Okay.
About 14 weeks, people would cease to remain quarantined.
Well, that's interesting because yesterday, as I was getting some takeout in town and supporting local business, we were talking about that in the car and how Memorial Day is like a really important day on the calendar. You're 6 weeks out from that. And I know that just whatever it was, 14 days ago, we said, we were told things might be better magically in 14 days.
April 15th was the day that, yes.
Absurd. Now, the numbers will be trending in a good direction. That doesn't mean that everybody can open back up. This thing, I would think, probably gets extended into at least mid-May first, if not outright all the way to Memorial Day.
Well, they already have the May 8th date for most businesses that there's no...
Yes, there are different states that are saying different things, but I think federally, the task force will say, all right, they're either moving it to like the 15th or outright to the end of May. But you get past Memorial Day, man, that's 2.5 months. I mean, that's a lot of time, and I'm 14 weeks sounds maybe even a little bit optimistic.
Yeah, I
mean, past Memorial Day into June, dude, there's going to be some interesting conversations. Put it that way.
Yeah, and it's not one I'm prepared to explore on today's show. That's a more serious topic and one that has
we'll
a lot
of 6 more weeks of information at that point, too.
It's also a very interesting conversation that involves real talk about tough decisions. Real tough decisions.
Percentages, people,
yes,
dollars.
Those kinds
all
of
three
things. The militaristic type decisions. Yes, correct. That will have to happen at some point.
But if you have, let's just say it's Memorial Day, that's 6 more weeks of ingenuity, 6 more weeks of hopefully society listening to the messages. You might be in a position where, I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but you're in a convenient position where you say, all right, as long as you people aren't complete freaking morons and flock to the beaches like the kids on spring break, we can wean you back on the system a little bit here.
I will say this, that I've had the opportunity to talk to both, you were here when we talked to David Hale, and he's talking to coaches and administrators in the ACC. I spoke to an administrator. I've also spoken to a coach in another sport, collegiate sport. And I'm certainly reading the tea leaves like everybody else is, whether it's listening to people who cover sports nationally and their sources, citing their sources on various podcasts and things like that. We're all collecting as much information as we possibly can so that you have an informed discussion anytime this subject comes up. It seems to me, and I think as it relates to college football, and that's really, let's be honest with ourselves, what everybody's thinking about right now. I mean, the truth, in the South, in this city, where college football is king, when we have these conversations, we can debate whether the NBA comes back anytime soon, the NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball gets started, and that matters to people. It does. It's a worthy subject over the course of a 3-hour show on a given day. But in reality right now, when you bring up self-quarantining and sports and when will they be played, 85% of my audience is immediately thinking of college football, Florida State football. When are we going to have a season? And I can say two things about that. From what I can gather, the answer is we are going to have a season. We are going to have a college football season. But it is not going to be a college football season until fans can be in the stands. It is not going to be a college football season until students are back on campus. So that changes the timeline. And I think the informed discussion around this and something that the plan that seems to be gaining momentum, because to be sure, university presidents and administrators and those that work within the NCAA and in particular over college football are having the greater conversation right now. Preparations, how quickly could they ramp up? What's reasonable once you're given a go-ahead? How much time do you need? To me, it seems like we're talking about starting college football in January. It looks more and more like the direction we're headed, folks, is that they are going to begin a full college football season. This is not by any stretch a guarantee. This is not written in stone. This is where I think the conversation is headed. This is where I think it's going to end up presuming that things continue to trail off as they are in regards to the coronavirus, the cases, the medical advancements, et cetera. I think they start in January, Tom, and it gets to be a very interesting thing because if you want to look for the bright side, and I think we all do right now, you want to have fun with this? Think about how cool it's going to be if we're able to ratchet back up and get this thing started, and for a one-time only deal, we start college football in January, and we play January, February, March into April. And then May, June, whatever it is, June, July, you have off, and you start the 2021 football season anew. And that's what would happen. You would start the fall season on time. You would just have a very strange occurrence prior to that. It may not be a full 13, 14 game thing. Could just be a conference schedule only, followed by the playoffs and the bowls, followed by we have a short, brief respite from football and start right back up.
Can I offer this? I know it's woefully oversimplified. Mm-hmm. I'd prefer if college football in general, moving forward, was January through April. Let the North suffer with the weather like we do every freaking September into the first half of October, where the stadium is well over 100 degrees for any kickoff that happens with the sun out. Let them suffer instead of us. Let's have January through April, beautiful Tallahassee weather, downright cold for at least a couple of home games.
Yeah.
Let's do it forevermore.
Well, what I like about it, if we do this, is that you then have football and presumably all the other fall sports, which would get pushed back as well. So, I mean, look, none of us are racing out to watch men and women's cross country, but they'd have to start in January as well, I suppose, too. Field hockey and volleyball and soccer, and if your school has water polo. I mean, those are all your sports that get started in the fall, so they all get pushed back, right? Winter sports then could start on time, so you go to a Saturday football game at Doak Campbell, but that Friday night you're watching men's basketball against somebody. I mean, you want to talk about chalking your weekends, Phil. Really, you'd start in November because you'd watch the Masters in November. Mm-hmm. The NFL...
I think the NFL is going to start
on time.
Close to on time.
I do too. I do too. Mm-hmm. They're mercenaries. We describe it all the time. So here's what I think is going to happen. You're going to have your NFL football being played when it's supposed to be played to satiate your appetite for football, which, okay, good for you. All right, so we get that. then, when you think it's all about to be done, college football's just getting going in January. So now you've got the end of the pro football season, the Super Bowl, and all that's going on. College football's just getting ratcheted up. College basketball's going on. You've got, whatever else you like in that season. And then we go on into spring sports, which would be baseball. And unfortunately, we've lost baseball for the year, meaning college baseball.
Ooh, so let's just say it was January 1 where you're starting, the first weekend in January. You know, it'd be really interesting if you follow the schedule, and let's say our schedule is identical. I know it's not easy considering you'd start in Atlanta, you got a trip to Boise, all that stuff. But let's just say the games fall in the same place. You'd have March Madness the same weekend as Florida State.
Woo!
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It would all feel overwhelming, but it would be, I think, for 1 year of our lives, of our sports-loving life, probably the most interesting time that we'd ever have as fans.
I can handle all of it as long as we have some professional sports in the fall.
Yeah, you're going to need it.
At least 2 leagues. At least 2. Give me the NFL and maybe an NBA playoff bracket that they say, all right, we're going to complete the 19-20 season here in the fall. We'll start the season around Christmas for 2021. That way we can make good for all of our television partners, get the ratings. You have the NFL running in conjunction with that. Maybe baseball. Maybe. That'd be nice. But if you can give me those things, then I can wait for college football season in January. If you're telling me nothing starts till January.
Ooh, that hurts.
Ay.
Yeah, but I guess back to the original point here, Tom, it seems to me the talking points that we're hearing more and more of, and the focus and the intensity of those conversations moving forward, I think they're going to center an awful lot around starting in January. Now, if they can start earlier, I think they will, but it's looking more and more like we're going to watch some football starting in January or December. Either way, I'm fine with that.
Well, I saw 2 talking points. One from David Cutcliffe, who's on 24/7 Sports. There's an article today, and he was outlining all of his thoughts, saying that he's going open-minded into all the meetings, but he was looking at realistic timelines for from medical personnel of how to ramp up the operation. How much time do you need to say,
correct,
we're moving forward with the season, but you got to give me how many weeks of lead time? He says 4 at the bare minimum, but 6 is probably a better number. And then today on Get Up, Laura Rutledge had some notes from talking to her college football contacts because that's how she got her start. And same thing. She said mid-May to the end of May, beginning of June
is very important.
Is the critical time.
Yeah. There are cutoff days and dates for decisions to be made because of that lead time that's necessary. So if we're going to get started sooner than this projected potential start in January, then you better know something by mid-May. And something definitive about what you can and can't do. And the thing about that is, what's difficult is there will be lots of places, potentially, there will be lots of places that are ready, that feel like, okay, their state is prepared. But that does you no good if they're not prepared in Nebraska, and they're not prepared in California, and they're not prepared in Texas. Oh, great, Massachusetts ready, good. But they're not okay in Virginia. You need obviously there's so much travel and so many matchups regionally. Everybody's got to be ready to go simultaneously.
And our conference is one of the more complicated ones.
Up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So without question, you've got all the way from Syracuse on down to Miami. Yeah. So you've got real situations there where so many states have to be ready to go. It doesn't do you any good if Georgia's ready, but nobody else is in the South, or Georgia wouldn't be the one that I'd choose there. But great. Kentucky's ready. Good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Good for you.
Mark Stoops.
Yeah, go get him, Mark.
By the bylaws, if we're ready to play, are these all forfeits? Huh?
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Bar and Grill is now open daily from 4 to 9 p.m. for all your takeout needs. Enjoy an all-day, everyday special of 10 wings and a basket of fries for just $10. Plus, have the Corner Pocket make you a signature to-go beer or liquor beverage as well. Red Russians, anybody? Just call 574-2724 for your wing order today. That's 574-2724 for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Or to stop by and order in person, please use the outdoor deck. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier, full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
Get your home set for summer during Macy's July 4th sale. Save big with our lowest prices of the season on furniture for every room. Plus your deck and yard, because it's all about entertaining outdoors. Check out special financing plans on $499 furniture purchases on your Macy's card. And get a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases just in time for weekend guests. Find great home savings at Macy's, the furniture destination. Savings off regular and sale prices. Exclusions apply.
Seminole headlines.
Kenny Chesney did go to East Tennessee State.
No kidding.
I'm all over it, buddy.
Studied advertising.
Look at me.
Was there in 1990. That's when he graduated.
Okay, obviously his life is good. Sitting on the porch or sitting on the beach, like when he's 70. I mean, is he going to look back and be proud of, like,
you talking about Kenny Chesney?
Yeah, his musical career. Like, what the music, the art he brought to the world.
So you think he'll feel guilty for stealing Jimmy Buffett's thing?
I'm just asking,
and then
putting a twang to
mimicking it.
But my question, I'm not saying it's.
I don't think he'll feel that guilty.
Will there be a pride? I'm not saying guilty, but like, will he be filled with pride? Like,
Not the way a real artist.
I think Van Morrison or they're like feeling good about what they contributed to
humanity.
Society.
Yes, I did something that elevated us as a species.
Like, I'm wondering.
No, Kenny Chesney cannot say that.
But I'm wondering if he thinks he did. Is what I'm asking.
I hope not. Like, if Jimmy Buffett knew he was garbage and just admitted
catchy tunes
and was like, I have a knack for writing these things.
I put the theme music to parties for
I that's what I do.
White people.
I'm not writing anything of any significance, but I did. Yeah. I created an element
songs.
That they're fun songs.
Fun time.
There's a place for that. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as he accepts that and
correct.
He knows that.
As long as he doesn't think he's Bob Dylan,
exactly.
Then I'm fine.
And I feel like Jimmy Buffett does. I wonder.
I think he does too.
Is he my tractor sexy guy?
I have no idea.
I think he's a
Pepsi commercial.
Don't act like you don't know.
They're all Pepsi commercials.
It was Kenny Chesney with She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy.
So do you think when he penned that he thought...
Did he even write it?
Probably not. But do you think that if he wrote it, he thought, this is right
moly.
up there?
He did not.
Blowing in the wind.
He did not write it.
He did not write it.
Yeah.
No. But he put his personal touch to it.
I'm sure. The one that he stole from Jimmy Buffett.
It's the 20th anniversary of that tune, that Fine Ditty.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, you knew that, Jeff. We were just talking about it the other day at lunch.
I was like, can you believe it's been 20 years since the
my
masterpiece
sexy tractor?
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Whatever it is.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Once a week, I go into a dark room and I sit back and listen to the lyrics of that classic.
Yeah.
She's always staring at me.
That's like the blowing in the wind of the 90s.
When I'm chugging along.
Yeah.
It's like The Weight.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like The Weight. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Tuesday night on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
One thing that certainly has happened and emerged with all of this time on our hands is the resurfacing of various videos over the years that have captured our attention for the reason of humor. annually I watch the grape stomping from the woman on the news. That never gets old.
Oh.
I laugh every time I see it because she's so annoying. It's so perfect.
Yeah, the hard part, though,
is the sound of the...
Yeah, you can hear the blood welling up in her face and nose, and that's just like, it's kind of gross. You know, yeah.
She had the wind knocked out of her, though.
Like, oh, my God. That's like blood just piling up.
Oh, it's just because she tried to go so fast. It's so good. It's good. Watermelon to the face in Amazing Race. If you haven't seen it, YouTube it.
That's a new one. I had not seen that before today.
Oh, I love it. That's good stuff. I'm surprised she's not dead. I mean, that is a slingshot watermelon to the grill. And then I would bring up, because Tom and I had a ball watching this the first time we laid eyes on it, and it's resurfaced again because people are just researching the web to laugh.
Yep.
And you have that place in the Pacific Northwest where the woman is throwing the hammer, track and field, and my man is over there with his clipboard ready to watch, and she lets it fly, and he gets caught in the boys. And I don't know how. And it's the best is the footage from the girls that are off to the side watching their teammate, and they're like, whoa. They're in shock. Watch any of those, and of course, you can never go wrong with the ladder on QVC.
Oh, yeah.
We've watched that 50 times, at least.
Sure.
The slow motion of his neck snapping back as he comes down hard.
And there's also Fire Melon, that's an old classic from E-Bombs World way back in the day.
Oh, my God, I forgot about E-Bombs World.
Yeah, remember E-Bombs World was something else. Fire Melon is the one where the kid, and like the quality of this video, it looks like it was made in that time. But he says something bad. I don't think I can.
Yeah, you can't.
But they fill up the melon with lighter fluid, and the kid hits it with a baseball bat. It turns out as well as you think it would. So if you want to see somebody rewarded for being a dumbass. And then also, if you're single out there, find you one who loves you as much as Jack Nicholson likes, the hoagie.
The hoagie on the boat.
Too much masters to get the names confused over the weekend. But
yeah, I do
Jack
all the
Nicholson
time.
hoagie. Search that on Google Images if you have not done so before.
Speaking of too much masters over the weekend, looking at time, the time range in which, or the time frame, in which Arnold won his Masters.
Yeah, the early 60s.
Yeah, it's 58. Oh, yeah, he's engulfed by that's really good. Yeah, he won all of his Masters from 1958 to 1964. All four of his Masters were won in that time frame.
Even years, like the Giants in the World Series.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then you look at Tiger winning and surpassing Gary Player's record for most years separated between wins at Augusta or major championships. Can't remember which it is. But it was for Tiger, it was 14 years, and I think for Gary it was 13. Is that right?
Yeah, but if you're looking at Masters specifically, I think Tiger did.
He set the record
beyond majors.
Yeah. So he set the record. That was it was nuts, and I think it was important. We talked about this last week, but whenever they get it back, and I don't know when that's going to be, and we're all holding on, but Tiger said he's really healthy and ready to go. He couldn't wait to get back out there and was feeling good, and it'll be. There's going to be so many big events in a short period of time. I don't think it's good for him.
Well, that's true. Yeah, if you look at he probably doesn't even want to play in the Ryder Cup then because you got the U.S. Open the week before.
Yeah, I don't.
How do you do one after the other? That's going to be really difficult. War of attrition.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I do think that you could either be riding a real hot streak or if your game is off, good luck. You don't have time to fix it.
So Jamie took a risk. She found because she's going to be in Orlando that week if the world returns to normal and the Ryder Cup allows spectators. She would actually be joining us a day late. We will be there on Thursday to watch the practice round and then head up, Friday morning for the
feel like the Ryder Cup's going to happen, Tom.
Probably not. But she found an $80 flight from Orlando to Milwaukee. And it's not refundable unless they cancel the flight. But it's worth the risk for a direct shot from Orlando to Milwaukee for $80.
I've done that. I've played the game. It's so fun to do right now, but it's just a pipe dream. I've sat there and Googled flights and looked up flights all over the world for that matter. And obviously, if you could get your money back, you would want to be booking several flights right about now. And if you feel like you can tell the future and project when it's going to be safe to traverse the earth, then right now you'd start going, oh, Stockholm, gotcha. Okay, well, here we go. Now we're going to go to Southeast Asia. Okay, and then we're going to go over here to San Francisco, and then we're going to fly to Rome. Yeah, you do that right now because you can get them for pennies on the dollar.
Well, I mean, you could do the trip insurance, but you've got to obviously, it's like a down payment, an extra one. But if you're a status member because you fly a lot for your job, you could already do that. And I'm sure those people have booked any number, like every weekend. Wouldn't you just book every single weekend?
Well,
because at some point one of them's going to be.
Oh yeah, something's going to be open. Yeah, you just it's about your psyche when you're feeling comfortable doing all those things. Once they say it's okay,
I'm gonna be aggressive on that side of it. I'm not gonna do it early. But when they say good to go,
when they say good to go,
you don't need to tell me twice.
I'm with you. Good work, Tom. Thanks to everybody for listening. Good to be with you again. It's our pleasure to do it. We'll be back with you again tomorrow. Be well.